Whoa. 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 Seems good. Whoa. Seems good.
Stream is starting. The Captain Coder at the helm. Bean water is ready. Today we will learn a lot. He loves the questions, he loves to sing. Join our Discord and follow him.
Get that finger ready. You're gonna find where am I gonna put it? Where's it gonna be this time, folks? Happy Saturday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you happen to be in the world. Captain Coder here on this beautiful day. Graham, thank you so much for the raid. Graham, thank you for the. I know it always goes. It's in the middle, right? It's always in the middle. Go for the middle. That's the best bet. Because which way? Oh, here it goes. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. So great to see you. So wonderful to have you, Graham. Thank you so much for the raid. The Dev Dad, thank you so much for your raid. I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you got to get out of here, Dev Dad, go for it. I know you're going on vacation. Enjoy your vacation, my friend. I hope you don't turn that computer on once while you're on a break. Take some time to yourself, get some rest, enjoy the family, enjoy the Dev Lad, my friend. It's so wonderful to have all you beautiful people here on this beautiful Saturday. Congratulations, everyone, on your exclamation point here to get those bonus points. Code Monk, so great to have you here. We got Mars9T. Thank you so much for being here. Smab, thank you for being here, folks. If you want to, don't forget to go check out Graham Weldon. Thank you so much for the raid. What were you working on, Graham? What were you working on, Dev Dad? Folks, thank you guys so much for being here, Captain Coder. I need a haircut. Look at this mess. Things are getting crazy. Someone give me a hat redeem. Someone do a hat redeem so I can get it on there. Also, Wolfric, thank you so much for the follow. Have you met Wolfric? Wolfric followed me today, you know, Wolfric, you're great, you're grand, you're amazing, you're the best, you know, there ever was. Thank you for the hat redeems. Let's get some hats added to the deck. Boom, boom. With the double hat, let's gonna swap those out. There we go. Boom, boom. I said a boom, boom. A boom, boom, boom. Get those hats on, get them going. Thank you for the 3 hats. 3 hats, let's go. 3rd hat. 1, 2, 3 hats. 3 hats, 4 hats. Can we get a 4 hat? 4 hats, strong bad with the 4th hat. Let's get 4 hats. 1 hats, 2 hats, 3 hats, 4 hats, 4 hats deep. There we go. There we go. You know it's good when you can strum this hat shiny with another hat. Redeem. Let's get another hat. Oh, we got another coding chemist. Idris, here we go. We got another hat. We got another hat. Woo! Woo! There we go. Thank you for the hats. There, Draco with another hat. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Boom! There it goes. We're off to a good start. Hang on, I gotta zoom out. There's not enough room in this room for all these hats. There we go. Look at all those hats. Nice and black. Hey, RJ with the hat. Let's get another hat. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Oh, almost lost it. Almost lost it. The order of the hats. I've chosen a poor order here. I mean, there's just an infinite amount of hats in a box somehow. Look, it's a heap of hats, and the hats go on the stack. Sorry, Struck. 1 hat per person per 3 hours. 1 hat per person per 3 hours. Sorry. Them's the rules. I didn't make them. I just enforce them. Them's the rules. I don't enforce them. I just make them. I just make them the bond enforcer. So many points. I know. I'm sorry. Guess you're just gonna have to keep coming back and doing those hats. Folks, I am Captain Coder. Captain Coder is me, and me is a computer science educator. My full-time job, Monday through Friday, my full-time job is teaching computer science and programming at a school for ages 10 to 14. I absolutely love my job. But the stream is dedicated to learning code and growing together as a crew. And what are we working on today? What are we doing? Hang on, where's the button? What are we doing? There it is. We are working on a game. Thank you guys so much for being here. All you wonderful people. I appreciate all the hats. I appreciate all the support. RJ, Shady Game, Wolf Rip, Cal Orb, Strong, Skig, Psy Gamma, Sigian, Draco. So great to have you. Vibing, welcome to the chat. It's just Triz. Welcome to the stream. It's great to have you. Coding Chemist, you know I love you. That alliteration is great. Lol Delta, welcome back. Dev Dad, thank you so much for the raid. Akira the Dev, wonderful to have you. Folks, you guys don't know. Yeah, set an alarm for 3 hours. Exactly, Red Robot. That's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta do. You guys don't know the Dev Dad. Am I gonna get it right this time? So I can never remember if it's just Dev Dad or the Dev Dad. Be sure to go check out the Dev Dad, incredible streamer, father, extraordinaire. Also, be sure to check out Graham Weldon. Let's get you a shout out here in just a second. But what are we working on today, folks? What are we working on? Hang on, I always have the XKCD up so you can see the most recent one. We are working on a game. We're working on an engine for doing our game here. We are making a game to do a tactics style combat game. We made a game for a game jam that had a tactics-esque game. So if you played Final Fantasy Tactics, kind of like that. Kind of. Like that is a strong word, but it's a game. And we voted, and we're going to keep working on pulling that out. We're doing it in Blazor, so we're doing some web stuff here. Let me see if I can pull it up here, what we have so far. Let's come into, it's this one, that one, this one, that one, this one, this one, this one, this one, web editor, .NET Watch. So we're doing some C#y stuff. We're doing some, it's going to open up here as a Blazor project in just a moment. I'll show you what we got so far. We're working on an editor for creating maps. We got to keep working on it. We're going to keep going, keep making progress. We're going to keep coding. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep being the best we can be. There it is. There it is. So here's our board editor. We can click to add in new tiles to our board, like so we can make some maps here. The idea is we're building a map editor for our game, so we can actually come in, build some maps out, kind of like this. This is what I want. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. So you build stuff in here. We can add figures to the board. The figures are interesting because they don't take up quite the right stuff. Is it Hat Day? Afro Dja. Every day is a Hat Day here at Captain Coder's Academy. Got to keep that head warm. We're going to keep that head on our shoulders. You know, it's all about the head and shoulders. So we have this. We can actually save and load. Let's see if I can load a file here. Yeah, so let's load. We can save our files. We can load our files so we get different maps here. Thank you for the exclamation point head. Yeah, we don't have a head command. We have a hat command, though. Got that hat command. Idris. Exclamation point hat. If you want to get a hat added to the set, it's Hatter Day. That's right. Unhat. Yeah, we only got a push command. We need a pop command for this hat stack, though. We should really get a pop command for the hat stack. Okay. So this is what we have so far. One of the issues One of the issues that I was noticing is the way we're drawing this. I want to clean up the way we're rendering this here. Currently, the tile, there's a couple things going on here. Can we also get a shift and unshift for ultimate chaos? We need the chaos command, right? We need a chaos command. It's a good idea. It's a good idea, Dead Row, but I gotta remember if we end up with a chaos command, we gotta remember it's from you. All right, folks. Also, Graham, thank you so much for the raid, folks. Be sure to go. Oh, I did give Graham a shout out. Graham, be sure to go follow Graham. Be sure to go follow the Dev Dad. Remove a hat by index. Yeah, we got to do a whole API. We should set up a REST service. That's really what we should do. We should set up, hat.captaincoder.org, and then we can put like a V1 API, and then there's push and pop commands that you send to the Captain Coder V1 endpoint to add or remove hats. We have an index you can select by. We got to, let the text game on the poll. It's the exact thing I want to make. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'd host that for free. Idris said that would be, we should set it up as a REST service. So if you want to do it, you got to write some code. You got to send post requests. You got to send us a post request for it. Let's take a look at this code here. It's a little bit, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. So if we look at our web editor down here, and I was playing around with this idea here. We've got to figure out something to do with these figures. So we have a couple different things. We've got our board editor. And our board editor, we created a board renderer. And our board renderer says, basically just go through every tile and draw that tile onto the board. And then our tile renderer says, if there's a figure in the spot, go ahead and draw that figure. So I started playing around with this. Okay, well, when we get down to it at the end of the day, the figures can take up multiple spaces. Figures can take up multiple spaces. Let me turn on my dock camera here so you can get an idea of what's going on here. So we have this here. So the idea is we're going to create a game board that's kind of like this game. Kind of like this. Woosa, welcome back to the stream. Great to see you, my friend. Welcome in. And a figure would be like this miniature. It takes up spaces. It can take up multiple spaces, right? They're rectangular. They'll never take up, the way I have it defined right now, they'll never take up like an L shape. They'll always take up a rectangular shape. They can be square, they can be rectangular, so they can be 3 by 2, they can be 1 by 2, 1 by 3. So they can take up a rectangular amount of space. Right now the tile knows about the figure, but it would be nice to be able to have the figure know what it looks like, right? So when I'm drawing this figure on the screen, on the board, I'm asking the tile to render it. And so the tile, it feels weird to put it in the tile renderer. Really, we need this concept of a figure renderer. All right, so I have a figure. The figures are sort of, they're not independent of the tiles. The tiles need to know what's in them to be able to access them, but the figure should be able to render itself. The tile shouldn't be doing the rendering there because that can take up so much. Exactly, Idris. So I was going, okay, I need to add in layers. So I went to do that and I said, oh, well, now I have no concept. I have no concept of get a list of the figures on the board, right? So I have no concept of getting the list of the figures on the board. So my data structure is kind of broken here. So if I go into my board, yeah, so this is where I came into. My board has a dictionary from position to tile info, which seemed to make a lot of sense at the time. At the time I was like, okay, so I look at my position and say, what's in that tile? And this is still going to be important. I still need to say, in a position, give me all the information about the tile there. What is in there? Are there props? Are there figures? But I need this other thing that goes from my board. I should be able to say, give me all of the figures on my board and then know where those figures go. So right now a figure is a relatively dumb data type. And I was thinking about, our figure just knows its width and height. There's a couple things we're gonna have to add to this as well. So figures need to have an identifier. So we're gonna have to add in an ID for it. And I was thinking, okay, well, does the figure actually know where it is on the board? So there's this sort of data problem that I've come up to as a programmer. I said, all right, so does my figure actually know where it is? Or does my board know where the figure is? So it has to do with, where do I want the data to be? If I put it in the figure, and then I move the figure needs to validate against the board whether or not it can go into a position. So there's a couple ways I'm gonna say the figure has a board and a position. I could do that. But that feels a little bit weird. So what I think I'm gonna do, what I think I've come up with is my board. It needs to be refactored here so that my board has tiles. So it's gonna have a hash of where tiles are on the board. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So where do I want to have that reference? How do I want to manage that complexity? Where does that complexity go? I honestly believe, as of right now, and this is subject to change, the best way to do this is to have a data structure inside of my board. I want my board to know where things go. When I'm playing my game, the figure doesn't care where it is on the board. The person controlling the figure cares, right? The figure doesn't know where it is. It doesn't care. It just knows its size, its shape. It's going to end up knowing how much damage it has onto this as well. So like I'm thinking as a player managing this game, how do I manage the state when I play this game in real life with a real board? Well, I put the damage tokens on the figure itself, or I have a card that represents it off the board somewhere. The figure itself doesn't always have, here's the other thing. Sometimes the figures aren't even on the board. That's another thing. Sometimes the figures are removed from the board and sitting off to the side somewhere. The figure doesn't always have a position. So it helps me come up with an idea there. So, because then we might have to have a location, and location could be a position or something else. And so I think the way that I want to manage this complexity is through something I'm calling a position map. Because we're going to need this for both our figures and for our props. So I've come up with this idea of a position map, and we're going to refactor this in a little bit. Exactly, Smab. That's exactly what I'm coming up with here for myself, is that the figure is a dumb prop, and the game knows. That's right. There's a bonus hat command, Graham. Graham, thank you again for the hat redeem. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Let's see how we do. Got the double hat. Rainy, welcome to the stream. Great to see you. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Hat bonus. Almost. There it is. The bonus hat. Let's get another hat added on here. We're running low on hats. Hang on. We're going to swap this one out here like that. Oh, yeah. And we'll get this Sigian with another hat redeemed. Big hat day. Justin Helps. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you've been well. All right, let's get this one on there. All right, and then we gotta get one of these. All right, gotta zoom out my hand so it's interesting. I watch myself in the camera putting these on. All right, there we go. Perfect. Thank you for the hat redeems. Sigian, Wusa, thank you for the hats. We got it. Did I miss one? I'm not sure if I missed one. Here, I think I missed one. We'll go and do another one just in case. Just in time. Oh no, I'm missing a hat. Where did it go? There's one fewer hat than I normally have. Maybe. There it is. It's attached to this other one. Here we go. Get another hat added to the stack here. All right. So I want to duplicate the data as few times as possible. I got that. Thank you for the dopamine code, Monk. So I essentially want this thing here. I need to know which positions hold a figure, and and the figure needs to know where it is as well. So I need a way to given a figure, what is the top left corner of that figure? Thank you for the other hat redeemed. Proton, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friends. Get another hat added to the stack here. All right. Oh no. The structure of the structural integrity of this stack is severely compromised. Code Monk with another hat, Justin with the other hat. All right, here we go. Where is it? Perfect. All right, I think we're out of hats. Let's see here, my box. We got one left. Sodium Overdose, thank you for the follow. All right, folks, we got the one hat to rule them all. Oh no, we just lost it. Hang on. We can rebuild it. We can make it better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. Hang on. We can get this. We can do it. We can make it work. We have the technology. The hubris. Oh, I can't do it. The order of hats is severely incorrect here, making it quite difficult. Quite the difficulty. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, we're gonna do our best here. Now we got this hat. All right, there we go. Sai asked, if I'm new to learning web dev, should I know HTML, JS, CS before jumping into C#? If you're doing web dev, I always recommend learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's just important, in my opinion. It's important. All right, there we go. Thank you guys so much for the hats. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I always recommend learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript first, separate from any framework, to learn the basics. Spend like 20, 30 hours building some website using those basics, because everything is essentially built on top of that. And so you'll do much better, at least in my experience with the students I have used, the students I have taught, do much better when I start them out with the basics there, rather than jumping right into a framework. That said, it's not impossible to jump right into a framework either. Corkless, welcome back to the stream. Congratulations on your number 16, my friend. Woo! We're off to a good start today. But yeah, I would like to have as little duplication as possible. In my code, but I do need a way to, given something, look up where it is on the board, and then also looking at a position, know what's there. So I have to I don't have to do it this way. I could just have my figures, and then I go through and I loop through my figure and say, hey, are you in that position? But instead, I'm gonna create a data type called position map, which has a bidirectional property where I maintain these two dictionaries that go back and forth. They go back and forth to each other. The one thing that's important is sometimes we take up multiple positions, and so this is gonna be the top left corner. When we get this thing back, it's the top left corner, and the figure knows how big it is. This is where this has bounding box comes from. Proton says, would be cool if web coding required assembly. I don't know if it'd be cool, but you could always program in WebAssembly. You can always program in WebAssembly. Nothing's stopping you from living your best life. So I sort of was hacking this idea together to play around with it, and now I'm ready to actually implement it. So we are working on, and this is an open source project. Anyone can contribute to this. Feel free to open up issues, pull requests, check out the code. I want the community to be involved. But the issue I'm working on right now, there's two things here. I want to, I guess I didn't add it in here. It kind of comes down to this one. Add figure should not redraw the entire board. So I want to have a layer for my figure. So I was trying to do this one and ran into this issue and said, okay, well, I actually need this position map thing. And so that's what I'm implementing right now, is this position map. And this position map lets us go either direction. Given a figure, get back all the position that figure's in, or given a position, tell us what figure's in there. And we'll be able to reuse this for the props as well. All right, so this was the concept that I came up with. And I was just playing around with it. There's several things that need to happen to get here. So I'm actually going to, we need to write some unit tests. I would like to write some tests for this just to understand what it's doing. I've been away from it for a few days now. And so I'm gonna actually write a test. We're gonna think about it a little bit here. Booyah, Grandma. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing, friend? Hope you're having a beautiful day. How are those alpines? How's Alpine going? Alpine Lake. Alpine Lake. Did I get it right, Booyah, Grandma? Let me know. Watching NPC play the crawler right now. Very cool. Yeah, so folks, if you want to, Practical NPCs going to Alpine Lake is going great. Excellent. For some reason, I wanted to call it Camp Alpine. I don't know why. Thank you for it. Thank you. Yeah. It's we are, I think, 18 hats deep in here. 18 hats deep in here. So we've made a lot of progress today on as far as hats go. But yeah, folks, go check out Booyah Grandma. I got to remember to give a shout out to Practical NPC as well, who's playing the game that we made as well. Thank you for the pat, Cornfless. Okay. Whew. So the idea here is at the end of the day, a position map, this is the important bit. We have our T to position, and the T itself knows how big it is. So it has a width and height. So I think I don't like has bounding box, but I want to say has size. So bounding box at size means it can get a dimension out of it. But size, it just has a width and a height. So anything that has a width and a height can be placed onto a position map. Doesn't necessarily have to have, but that's what we're going with here. We build this thing up. Let's write some unit tests. Let's write some tests. You can, welcome to the stream, Yuki Infinity. That's what I might say. Yuki, welcome to the stream. Yuki, welcome to the stream. Thank you for following me today. Yuki, thank you so much for the follow. All right, so let's add in here to our board. We'll create a position map. Position map should. And there's some interesting things to think about here. Our figures, our figures are going to need an identifier on them. They currently don't have that. So we need to be able to distinguish two figures that have the same width and height from each other. Let's call this position map should. And the important bits here are related. These are the three functions we have: is occupied, is overlapping, and then most importantly, the triad. Not triad, but triad. We're gonna give it a position and an element, add it to the board. Okay. So let's create a fact. Okay. Public void position map should add figure to board. Okay, so we want to think about this, and we're gonna go add 1 by 1 figure to board. That way I can do a theory. We're gonna say int x, int y. So we're gonna say where we're gonna add it in there. So I can create a theory with a couple different, really I just want to have 2. We're gonna add a figure at 5, 5. And then we'll add another one at 2, 3. The average group, welcome back to stream. This is actually the cap, the master cap. It has a it's one cap to rule them all. We got a lot of hats in here. We managed to make it here, but surprisingly, no one did another hat redeem to blow it off my head here. Okay, so we're gonna have a position here. Good morning. Yeah, tag the average goob. I love that. New. We're gonna create a new position XY. So this is the position we're gonna check. The board we're gonna test. We're gonna go ahead and create a board. And on this board, we're gonna add positions. Create empty tiles, and it's gonna be based off of a new bounding box. We're gonna create one that's 10. Bounding box here is 10 by 10. I think we can do that. Top left, yeah. So new position 0, 0. And then we'll give it 10 by 10. So we're gonna create a 10 by 10 board here, and we're just gonna drop this figure in like that. So this is the board that is, oh, hang on, no. We're doing nothing with board. Position map of figure. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. What is the namespace for this? Position map of figure. It's not valid in the given context. What do you mean? Is this a real error? What Copilot are you using? I'm not, whatever is the, if I don't actually think I'm using Copilot, Dirty Puddle, I think it's just doing autocomplete. Oh, actually, it does look kind of like Copilot. It's whatever. I don't actually would prefer not to have it installed. Whatever comes probably with the C# dev kit. Yeah, there is some version of Copilot. It's whatever is default. Does anyone know what the default one is here? Whatever Microsoft's default thing is. Why am I getting this here? I'm slightly confused. Hang on. Position map of figure. Oh, did I just not give it a name? I may not have given it a name. There it is. We're gonna call this under test. So what's interesting is we want to be able to add the same. We shouldn't be able to add the same thing twice in here. It shouldn't care. So it's interesting. I'm not sure. So it shouldn't really be about add figure, add item. It should be the default IntelliSense. Yeah, I believe it's the default IntelliSense. But that said, I think there is some kind of Copilot installed by default. Like that was giving. So the IntelliSense looks like this. It was giving me more than IntelliSense. Under test.add position, right? It was giving me this. That said, I don't think I can tell it to like, cause I don't know. I haven't actually used Copilot, so I don't know how it works. I think you might be able to prompt it or something. But it is more than just functions. I don't know exactly. It's just a very smart IntelliSense now. Gotcha. The idea here being, we're gonna do a triad on position. It's not even add figure to board add. It should just add 1 by 1 figure. Okay, let's go look at try add here. Given a position and an element. All right, so we have to give it a position and then an element. So literally we'll go, okay, figure equals new. Figure like this, just a 1 by 1. Height equals 1. And I suppose we could do a width and a height here. So we could do add figure width height like that. 1 1 1 1. It's just checking which positions are set become a little bit tricky if we have a width and height here. Because now we have to do like a for loop and check a rectangle bounds. It's like, how complex do I want my test to be? Let's try it. May not be that bad actually. Figure. So if we do a triad here. Yeah, I was under the impression that Copilot would try it. You would give it you'd prompt it somehow, right? So I could write a comment that says a method that does X, Y, or Z, and it would do something. So this should be success. And we'll do success.should be true. And then there are some side effects of calling this method. When it's true, the side effects are that there's a bounding box in our position and our figure.width, figure.height positions. You know, this is going to be our expected occupied position array, expected occupied. I have to do this. So my test feels like it might be too complex. Gotcha. Because I've used, so in Replets, I don't think they're using Copilot, but there's some AI going on in Replets that happens, and I turn it off. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. I don't actually like the suggestions I typically get from AI, but that's just my personal preference. I should really give it a shot at some point, though, right? To understand it. This is what we're expecting our occupied to be. And so our under test.oryx, welcome back to the stream. We want to say that our elements dot count dot should be 1. So this is the number of things that are in it, should be 1. And our under test dot elements dot elements of figure should be, this is the position that we're in here. I see. So let's move this down here. The figure should be at the specified location. Okay, but it also needs to occupy that space. The figure should be added to the empty map. Figure should be at the specified location. And then finally, the figure should occupy all of the occupy spaces, occupy all spaces in its bounding box. Okay. Sort of what we have here. Expected position, so under test dot map, and maybe I need a better name for this, dot count should be expected occupied dot length. So this is the number of things in there, and then it should contain all of these under test dot map dot count dot should be subset, should be map should be subset of expected occup. Yeah, we might go the other way, should be subset of. This is interesting. I'm not sure why that one's not working. Oh, I have to get the keys. Oh, and then it's like all of those keys should be the figure. Yeah, so there's like an entry there. Oryx, yeah, give me just a second. I'll show you what it looks like. Game is a strong word. We're working on the editor right now. Justin, I think that would probably be super helpful. I would love if Coplight had a hotkey where you could ask for completion rather than having it constantly suggest things. Like, I can press Control Space on Windows to say, bring up the autocomplete menu. What I really want to do is say that map dot select KVP, so this is key value pair, KVP dot key is equal to yeah, so this isn't quite right. This test is interesting. Key should be a subset of the expected ones, and then all of the values under test dot map dot, all of these values should really be just the one. Yeah, it might be different. So this is specifically in VS Code, but you can typically trigger autocomplete in your editors in some way. All of the keys all of our key value pairs should have key value pair dot value should be our figure like this. All right. Yeah. If you want to see someone playing an early system, I don't know if Practical NPC is still playing, but Practical NPC is playing the game I made. So if you want to check out the early version, oh, cool. I'm glad it works in Writer as well. Of this combat system, it's part of our Cosmic Encounter game. All right, so this is what the inspiration for this was. So we have this sort of grid-based combat where you can have multiple heroes. These are like heroes and enemies on the board. It's two-dimensional. You move around, you fight stuff. So this is like the prototype. This was the prototype. We made this for our Game Jam entry. And now this is what we have so far. So we have a map editor. This is what we're working on right now. So we have a map editor where we can click to add in tiles. There's a lot of improvement that's that will need to be done to finalize this, make it better. But here's a little map editor that we're working on. Can add in tiles, can delete tiles. So not a whole lot. And right now we are working on the add figure option here. So we can add a figure. Right now, add figure, all it does is add in a figure that is 1 wide and 2 tall at the position you click in. And we are doing a little bit of refactor because our figures should actually exist above the tiles. And so I want to be able to do a layer thing where I say, on the board, give me all of the figures. Right now, all the board has is all of the positions, and the positions know if there's a figure inside of it, but it actually doesn't know what the figure looks like, what's the top left corner of the figure, and we really need that information to be able to render the figure properly. So if a figure is a 2 by 2 figure, or this 2 by 1 figure, I need to be able to know, okay, in this top left corner, that's where the start of whatever image I'm going to use to represent it is, and it sort of sits on top of the tile rather than the tile re-rendering itself. And so that's what we're working on right now, is I'm creating this thing called a position map, which is given a figure, tell us what positions it's in, as well as given a position, tell us what figure is there. So it's like a two-way mapping. We need both of those things to be successful here. But this is going to be my first step. We should be able to add figure like so. I think this test is what I want. Our test is getting a little bit complicated. Let's do a 2 by 2 figure. And then let's put one in position 5, 2, and make a 3 by 2 figure as well. So it should be able to occupy all these spaces. JD, welcome to the stream. Folks, if you guys don't know JD does dev. Fantastic streamer, human being.
If you want to feel like
game
you're talking
dev,
with Captain, let me see if I could do my
streamer,
Captain impression.
Impersonator.
I am not the Captain, but my eyebrows also move.
Thank you for being here.
in a way
Host.
like the Captain.
I'm not an affiliate, so I don't get my own emotes, but JD has graciously hosted the Captain Heart emote. Go get it on JD's channel. Go check it out, folks. It can be yours. It can be yours. All right, so that's what we're doing here. Yeah, so I could run this test here. See how we do. Because I kind of have written this code already. Let's see if this test works. I usually like to make sure that I've been doing a thing where I'll do the test first and then write. So doing a semi-test driven development, but I wasn't entirely sure what this data structure looked like. So I needed to test driven development is great if you have a plan ahead of time. I didn't have a complete plan, so I was hacking some stuff together. This took several different forms before I said, okay, this form feels like the right one. And now I'm gonna write some tests for it. Okay, so we have this triad. That's essentially all it does. There are a few things I need to test. So adding a figure is fine. We shouldn't be able to add a figure into, shouldn't be able to overlap a figure, right? So public void should not add overlapping figure. Like
Seems
this.
good.
So this one's just going to be, I think it's just going to be a fact here, because I feel like writing all the parameters for this would be super hard. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do it this way. So we're going to create a new board under test. We're going to write it out, see if I can get it working. Under test. Yeah. Under test dot add. See, that autocomplete's pretty bad there. At a new position 3, 3 to add in a new figure like this. There's like some JSON, triad. All right, so this one should be true. So we're gonna add that figure in here. Let's create a figure. So there's a couple things that's interesting. I shouldn't be able to put the figure, like the same figure in multiple spots. Should not add, yeah. Something interesting there. If I try and add the same figure to the board twice, is that valid? Can the same figure occupy different locations? Is that a valid state to have? Raid, welcome to the stream. Those are my 2 current suggestions for learning C#. The C# Player's Guide, I think, is a fabulous book. It's a paid book, but it's super, I think it's the best book out there for learning C#. For brand new people and for people who have already been programmed for a long time but haven't done any C#. The yellow book is also pretty good, but it's starting to be a little bit dated. It doesn't have all the latest, it's a little bit older. So question, if I try and add this figure twice, what should happen? You know, part of me is saying should not add same figure twice. All right, so we shouldn't be able to add the same figure twice to the board. 5 years of experience with C#? Yeah. Probably not the C# Player's Guide. That said, I have heard people who have been programming in Unity for a long time getting the C# Player's Guide and going like, oh man, this book is fantastic. We shouldn't be able to add the same figure twice. So this one, if we try and add the same figure twice in 2 different positions, gotcha. In that case, you may find the C# Player's Guide not that great. I'd have a better suggestion if you already know what's going on. I'd recommend C# in a nutshell. That said, you have more experience than I do with C# and .NET. I've only been using it for, I think, 3 years now. So you have a lot more experience than I do. We want to add this same figure a second time. Right? It shouldn't let us, even if I want to put it in a different spot, 2-2 figure. So the answer is, how should this be treated? I have to consider this. I think I want this to not let me add the same figure twice. So it's the same figure in 2 different positions. I think that shouldn't be allowed. The identifier shouldn't be allowed there. Bool was a success. I believe we were going to do success.should be false. So we should not add same figure twice. And I think this one's going to fail. Let's find out. I don't think I wrote this code. We'll see. Yeah, it lets me add the same figure twice currently. So that is something that I didn't consider before. And so I really don't think we should try add, given a position and element, we shouldn't be able to add the same figure in 2 spots. So for example, right here, when we're initializing this, loading, we say attempt to add a duplicate figure element at position here. So it's saying if I try and add the same element multiple times, yeah, because then our reverse lookup's going to be broken. So we can't do that. We can't do that. So the question is, should that just be a false, or should, I guess it's a try, so it should be a false, and maybe we should have a second one that's like an exception. Let's just get a different thing in there. So I'm going to say if, I think we have 8, we're essentially out of hats. I think we have 18 hats, JD. Good question. What is a JD? JD are your bonus points. You can get JDs, but only JD can give you JDs. Is that really an argument exception? This is a setter, right? So it's part of a set. The argument that you're trying to set, the value is invalid. So I went back and forth on this. What would you suggest? It's like any, maybe an illegal state exception. If our elements dot contains key element return false. Right? So it's an invalid element data. So I'm thinking it from a setter perspective. There's an argument coming in. I'm not sure what exception it should be. I don't know that argument exception. If I had written it as private void set element data, like this. I think yes, right? Because this argument is not valid. If I wrote it this way, would it be an argument exception? So it's not actually that it's invalid. The operation isn't invalid. It's that this value is not a legal position map. So this elements data does not meet the standard for it. It's not a valid argument. It's not a valid piece of data to be a position map. Our position map maintains it. It is, yeah. So it's interesting here, right? So we are just validating. You can kind of think of this as a constructor, right? So really this is almost a constructor. And maybe I should add a constructor as well. But this is like a thing, a part of initialization. It's weird because I'm doing this so I could serialize it. The tuner says I'm not sure what the hats are, but I'm here for it. We just got bombarded with hats right off the bat. People just went for it. Dev Dad rated us. Went up with all the hats. Folks, be sure to go check out Two Nerdy Nerds. If you want to watch some incredible Godot development, go check them out. Yeah, so it's a little bit weird here, Smab. I was torn on it as well, but I think ultimately it is an argument exception. All right, .NET test. I think this is really what I need. Okay. We want to make sure we can't add overlapping fixtures. Fact, public void should not add overlapping figures. Okay. Unequivocal be above average goob. You know, the average goob is TAG. The above average goob is the tag with an extra A in there. That's funny. I don't know why that's funny to me. Okay. So in this case, we can add, let's add a figure that is 2 by 2. So it's 2 by 2 at position 3. So if I want to add in a figure overlapping, is a smaller figure. This one would be added at 4, 4, so it'd be overlapping in this case. So we add this figure at 3, 3, so it occupied in 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, and 4, 4. So we shouldn't be able to add into this position here. All right, so in fact, we shouldn't be able to add it in any of those positions. Zara, welcome to the stream. Zara XX, thank you for following me today. All right, so we should not be able to add overlapping figure. I think this covers that there. I don't think I need to be super extensive about it. Just give me a little bit of confidence. It's not going to let me add. I want to maintain the state of my box here. And in fact, we want to check one other thing is we should be able to check is overlapping. So add in a fact. All the formatting in here is wild. Public void should check is overlapping. This is essentially this same test. But we should be able to say is overlapping new position for overlapping like this, and that should is overlapping should be true like that. Okay. And is occupied. Oh, that's interesting. Is occupied. Sidra, the hat cover needs a hat cover. We're all out of hats. We're all out of hats. We got a hat overflow. There it goes. We're all out of hats. Sidra, thank you for the hat redeem points. And everyone for being here for this incredible moment. 1,000 points to all you beautiful people for achieving a hat overflow there. Hat overflow. I gotta be careful with that. Looked like it was getting warm. Thank you so much for the hat overflow. There it goes. There it goes. Appreciate it. I'm not testing is occupied. We're all out of hats. We're all out of hats. That's right. Should. All right. So now we can do. Fact. Really, this becomes sort of the same thing here. When we add a figure, the figure should be becomes this. The figure should occupy all these spaces. And really, so I'm realizing I should be able to do. I'm testing too many things here. Really, I should just check that it was added. And this one should be checking. Yeah, this test should do these things. Should check is occupied. That's really what this one should do. We can redeem all our bonus hats now. You potentially could. JD's and there's not a give all command. That's hilarious. It's a nice try though. It's a nice thought. You gotta try. Look, if you don't try, you'll never know. And if you never know, then you never know. This. Yeah, I think this is actually here. All right, but now after we've added this thing, we expect these to be occupied. And then additionally under test dot is occupied of expected occupied dot all should be true. Like that. You're so close, Sidran. You almost got that Lambo. Just a few more points. Just a few more points. You'll get there. I don't know that I love this test that much, but I think let's see what we're missing. Let's see if we're doing some in any kind of good coverage here. I think I can turn on my coverage gutters as well. All right, so my tests, yeah, I need to make sure this thing is JSONable. So there's a few things that I'm noticing that I have here. One of them happens to be a figure thing. Our figures need to have unique IDs, but we should be JSONable as well. So there's one issue I'm running into. All right, so this should add a figure. We want to be able to add two figures. That's the other thing that we want to do. Fact public void add two figures. Right now there's no. All right, should add two figures, and we want to be able to do this thing. Right now this is going to fail. If we add two figures that have the same width and height, we'll create a figure here that has a width of 1, a height of 1. We'll call this first We'll call this one second. And we're going to add this one at new position 0, 0. We'll call this first success, second success. Two, three. Really, first success dot should be true. Second success dot should also be true. And this is because it's saying, oh, well, we have two different figures. We've actually constructed two different figures. This is going to fail because of lookup. Then this is just really part of my figure. My figures should be unique. Constructing two figures, they should be unique from each other. So this test is going to fail. And what I need to do is I need to add an ID to my figure so that you can distinguish two from each other. We want to be able to distinguish two figures from each other. And so the way I've done this in the past, so I've thought about using a GUID, a GUUID. But I think a simple integer ID is all I really need. Adrian, can I drive? Yeah. It's not a Lambo, but it's still yours. Toak, welcome back to the stream. Great to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome aboard. All right, so this is sort of how I've done this in the past. So we have a unique identifier. And by default, it's going to be this thing here. A private static next ID. And maybe I make it public. I don't know if this is true. And it starts out at 0. And what we do is every time we create a new figure, we just increment it. And so this thing will have a unique value. You can force this value if you want to at initialization. I think we could also do this. Say, well, we're just not going to let you force the value at initialization. But then serializing these becomes very painful. And this is where I'm saying, like, maybe a GUID makes the most sense. Kilted, welcome back to the stream. We are working on our map editor for our tactical combat game. But I like this as our ID. So we can have unique figures in this way. When you construct one, you get a unique figure. If you want to force an ID, you can. So this is great for serialization. So you can save and load and say, hey, this one happens to have an ID that matches. And this should hopefully not break. It should actually make my test pass and not break anything. Okay, so that didn't pass. Or so it broke something actually. All right. This isn't the dungeon crawler, but it's based off the tactical game, the tactic system that we had in our dungeon crawler. Let me rebuild. Let me run these. I think this ID has broken a previous test. Which probably, once I run these, will make sense. Somewhere I'm constructing a figure and they're supposed to be equal. So my board equals. Yeah, because notice I'm constructing a brand new figure. So I actually need to say, okay, well, this is where being able to set the ID is going to be important. Because they need to be identical both times. There we go. All right. So we'll have to be... Yeah, I think this makes sense. This is where GUUID, I think, might be important. Some way to enforce uniqueness. Kilton says, I got inspired to try and make a tactical combat game kind of based on some of the turn-based stuff like XCOM. Yeah, it's sort of what I'm going with. It's Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Tactics, that type of stuff. Mine's based off of a board game that I really enjoy. Tony, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, so mine is going to be heavily inspired by the board game Descent, which is one of my favorite tactical board games. We might need to make it so that we have to specify this ID. This is tricky. This is tricky. I cannot just rely on being able to construct it and get the correct GUID back. I need some kind of manifest that tracks all of the different IDs, and if we have a duplicate, we need to go to the next. So a GUID would do this. Congratulations on number 22, Kilted. Yeah, I've painted, I haven't painted all of them, but I've painted many of them. So if I open my dot cam, so here's my, the Beastman, I've painted the Beastman. Here's a Beastman I've painted. Come on, focus. So this is from the game Descent. So I have the Beastman I painted. I've got the Ogre that I've painted. I know it's super fuzzy there. Sorry, I don't know how to get it to focus a little bit better. This is one of the characters from the game that's painted.
Whoa.
Mooniz, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. Hope you're having a beautiful day, my friend. Folks, be sure to give Mooniz some love. Taught me everything I know about game dev. We are hosting together Mechanically Challenged as well. We have quite a few people participating in it. There's still time if you get your submission in before May 1st. Before May 1st, you have a chance to win $50 for creating your mechanic. So be sure to check that out. I'm going to take a quick break, actually. No, let's not take it. What are you basically trying to solve here? Subset of the issue, strongly typed IDs, and there are packages you can just use for this. Yeah, so I think I need to do like a GUID here. There's one. Yeah, I think I want to do. I don't know enough about how the GUIDs work. Strongly typed IDs, C#. I'm not sure which one to use, which one's best. The main thing here is I need to be able to tell the difference between two figures. So I think I might just have a data problem, right? So two figures on the board with the same width and the same height in two different positions. I need to be able to tell the difference between those two things. Everything's the same about them except their position. So if the board's tracking the position, it's like, can I store any more information there? Or now, so if I don't, so there's this other option here. So I get rid of this. And get rid of this. Have a beautiful day, Mooniz. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you have a beautiful day, my friend. We have this problem of the figure. What information does the figure store, right? So I'm back to that same problem I had before. Does the figure have any information about it? I'm doing wonderful, Thindle. I hope you're doing wonderful as well. I think I need to step away just for a moment. I need to take a quick break, get myself some more water, get myself a little bit more tea. Serge, welcome in. I managed to run the calculator on Visual Studio Code. You made a calculator? I'm glad you're doing well, Thindle. So we have this question here. Right, so I have two problems. I have two problems here. Or how I'm representing the data is going to be important here. Is my figure dumb? Is the real question. How dumb is my figure? And so the question is, should I be able to add the same figure twice? If I can add the same figure twice, it's just 2 copies of this figure in 2 different spots. This is going to be a custom engine, yeah, Rort. For our editor, we're working on an editor. So engine is a strong word, but you know, we're building an editor to build maps for the game. And then we can maybe put it in a couple different places, but I think I kind of want to build my own web. I'm not going to call it an engine, but web interface. Dumb is this all I want for my figure? So the question is dumb is this all the information that the figure actually has? Width and height, and then maybe an image associated with it, or a type to say, oh, by the way, I happen to be a skeleton, I happen to be an ogre, I happen to be, Vikerys the Dead, right? So what information does my figure have? And then the board would need to track everything else. Smab, yes, that is what I'm thinking. That's where I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. Well, maybe I take the ID out of my figure. So let me ask you a question, 2 nerdy nerds. Let me ask you a question. When you are playing Descent, when you're playing a board game, you have this figure here. Where do you store the damage information? Do you store it on the figure itself? Where do you store that information? Is it on the actual figure? Do you store it on the figure? Does the figure actually know how much damage it has? Or do you track that on a piece of paper and then keep a reference, say, oh, well, this is the projection of this figure on the board? Where do you store that information? Right? Yeah, so that's the question. How do I want to manage the data? Right? So that's the question. How do I want to manage the data? The ogre card, right? So I can have multiple ogres on the board. They have all the same properties. That's the same with me, though. I usually keep the hearts. I keep the damage tokens next to the figure because it's easier. With a computer, it's basically physical. So the question is, like, how do I do it in a way that duplicates the data the least, but lets me manage the complexity? Yeah, I personally keep the damage next to the figure. Flyweight pattern might work. Searches, I'm currently trying to create a calculator repository on GitHub, but I wonder if I need this all in my low-level program. Look, practice, the muscle practice, learning how to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. Or you're saying you have a high-level proficiency, or my low level of, I thought you were saying you have low-level, like working on low-level programming. Distron, welcome back to the stream. I do need to take a quick break here. I'm gonna get myself a little bit more water, maybe do a little bit of processing in the background. Right, do a little bit. Are you trying to write this using OOP or fun? Yeah, Smab, but the problem is I think I'm doing both. I think that's the problem I'm running into, is like I'm like trying to, so let's say I want to do it using functional programming. For the board, for the shop, for the everything needed. This is where my brain is. Yeah, so this is you sent me down a rabbit hole. You sent me down the rabbit hole. I'm not going to blame you, but really, I'm on like this weird functional programming kick, right? I don't know that I need an ogre class. I think that would be overdoing it. Yeah. Yeah, Mars, exactly. So I'm like, okay, what is my data definition? I want to duplicate the code. I want to have as little data duplication as possible. I want to have as little data duplication as possible. And if I'm duplicating data, if the same piece of data is stored, I need it in 2 places, I want to try and encapsulate that, because then I'm not tracking those changes. I don't need to validate it multiple times. I want to do as little. I want the validation to be as local as possible. I think that's a good practice to try and follow. Functional programming is like old school. I think functional programming is sort of in right now. Yeah. I think exactly, Smab. It's sort of the other way right now, folks. I'll be right back. I gotta take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I shall return momentarily. Thank you so much for your patience. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much for waiting. 2 nerdy nerds. Holy moly. I don't know why my Ko-fi, maybe the alerts are on. I missed it. I know the chat alerts aren't working, but 2 nerdy nerds, thank you so much for the Ko-fi donation there. It's much appreciated. Thank you for putting that in the hat fund, my friends. Love you guys very much. Beegs, welcome back. Happy birthday. Is it actually your birthday, Beegs? If it's so, congratulations on making it this far. Congratulations on making it this far. We are back here. So my code smell sense is tingling. My code smell sense is tingling, and I think I'm about to do something. I'm about to make a mistake. So I think I need to stop the programming and sit down and think through this problem, right? So I have this bad. We're about to start writing really bad code. We're about to start writing hacks. And I can prevent that right now if I stop and say, okay, well, let me actually think about this problem. Right? Let me stop and actually think about this problem, come up with a solution rather than just hacking a bunch of stuff together. That's one option. I can sit down and draw it out and think it all through. The other option would be to build a prototype knowing I'm going to throw it away at the end. Those are sort of my 2 options. Yeah, Beaks. So you get the feeling that you're about to make a mistake and you stop. Weird. Bold strategy. I'm going to see how it plays out. Do it like Jern, Thindle says. Folks, if you guys don't know Thindle, by the way.
What?
He's a .NET
Kitty.
genius and cat dad. Go check out
Very
Thindle, folks. Give him some love.
Easy. Can do pretty much whatever I want with her.
Yeah, I'm about to write some hacks in here. So you saw me write some code and go like, nope, that's going to be a problem.
Let's let you down.
I try and write this way. Oh, no, that's going to be a problem. So I need to stop down and really say, okay, what the heck am I doing? What am I trying to accomplish here? What's the actual problem? How does the data look? And how am I going to... I'm not saying I need to write down some UML, but I think I need to draw some stuff out to think about my problem space here. Want to draw some stuff to think about my problem space. Where do I want to store the data? Does the data need to be duplicated? How do I validate my game state, right? How do I make sure that I don't end up in weird game state situations? Clayman! Holy moly. We got all the coolest people here. Got all the coolest people here. Let me do a new... let's delete these. Delete. Why can't I select multiple things at a time? That's weird. Okay, so we're gonna do some planning here. Do some planning. Great question, Distron. All right, so here's an example of data duplication. Here's an example. I don't want to, not exactly. So I have, maybe this is the wrong tool to do some white. I really want just a whiteboarding tool. MS Paint, we'll find out. We'll just go here for a moment. Let me switch to dark and draw. Can I draw here? All right. So here's sort of what I mean by data duplication. Probably is, we have a board. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a board out here. Okay, we have a board. It has some tiles on it, like this. I have some character. Okay, so I have some character that I want to put on my board, and the character is going to take up a couple spaces. Let's draw a character out here. Jeez, this is bad. Oh, close that object. Fill in stroke, stop. I want my fill in stroke object. Fill in stroke, control shift F. There you are. Giant strokes for some reason. Set stroke. There we go. All right, so I have some character. I want to put them on the board. All right, put the character on the board. They take up. This is ridiculous. All right, so this program is clearly not what I want. Why is this behind everything? This is crazy. Why is this sent to back? It's like drawing on, I'm losing my mind, layers. It's like has these on 2 different layers for some reason. And so they cannot be reordered. I'm gonna lose my mind, everybody. Why can't I put this guy on top? I don't know what's going on. It won't let me put that in front. I'm gonna lose my mind here. It literally won't look. I'm gonna lose my mind. Hang on. All I want is a grid. All right, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. All right, why can I not draw? If I draw, can I move you behind? Why can I not move? Why does this not show up behind this? This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm gonna lose my mind, everybody. All right. What? Why is this so hard? Why is nothing snapping to the grid? This is crazy. Oh, is it because this is opaque? That's what's going on. All right, hang on. This is... No? Go to stroke paint. Fill. Okay. Oh. All right, that thing was opaque. So the alpha channel on that was below 0, so it was tricking me. All right. Let's draw a grid. Oh my goodness. Captain Coder struggles. Welcome to the struggle. Okay. I have my character. I have some figure on the board. This figure occupies these 4 positions. All right, so this figure is going to occupy these 4 positions. All right, so this figure occupies these 4 positions. And when I'm talking about data duplication, is where is this information stored about the position it is contained in? Where does it store it? All right, Anonymous and Fresh Meat, welcome back to stream. Great to have you here. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Does the figure know its position? All right, so I could store the information about where the figure is in the position, but then the board doesn't know where that is, right? The board doesn't know where the figure is. Now the figure knows, and you have to validate against the figure. I could store it in the board. Okay. All right. Sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry you had to watch that happen. That might have been the hardest thing I've ever had to do. The figure knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. I actually think the figure doesn't. In my mind, I think the figure shouldn't actually know where it is. The figure is just represented. In each container reference to the figure, cross-reference, weak reference. Yeah. So the question is, I want to be able to do all of the following. I want to say, given a position, given some arbitrary position, what figures are in that position? Okay, so given... Okay, that figure would just know where it is. All right, so then how does my code work? So then the question becomes, I want to ask what figures are in this position. All right, so I have a board here. What figures are in this position? How do I know that without saying, okay, now go through every figure in the board. Go through every figure in the board and say, are you in this position? Ranged attacks, movement. Use a detector object. So you're saying that I need some physical objects. So I actually have no physical objects on my screen. So use a detector object. How does the detector object work? There's actually no physical objects on the board. It's all data. It's all data. These things don't. It's all like math. Sort bitmap of non-free cells. So you're saying I should have a physical representation and do like collision detection to see if they exists. Yeah, I don't think I should do that. So when I go to move, all right. So I have in my game. Welcome back,
What?
BK.
Seems good.
Yeah, so I don't want to have to write collision detection. Whimsically made. Welcome back to the stream. There you go, Mars. There you go, Mars. As long as that data is encapsulated, it's okay to have it multiple times, right? So I said, okay, well, I want to be able to quickly say, given a figure, what positions do you occupy? And then given a position, what figure occupies that space? So I want to be able to go both directions. I'm doing well, BK. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Yeah. So that's sort of like what I need to think about here is what's the best way, or not necessarily the best way. What is a way I can do this that makes it so that I don't have to keep, like if I change the X, Y in one place, I don't want to change it in another place. And in fact, I'm using immutable objects. I can't actually just change it. That's an expensive, yeah, just when I could do that. That's why I'm saying like that is an expensive operation. Because now, as my figures grow, the more figures I have, the more intense that computation is. It may not actually be that big of a deal, right? It may not actually be that big of a deal. It's not. I'm just thinking like, what is the, so I could do this many different ways. The question comes down to, how do I manage it in a way that reduces the complexity for me as a programmer? How do I do it? Manage me as a program. Coding chemist, that's what I think I'm going for. With the positions maintained by the game, not the dies themselves. I had a separate separation between die and positioned die. Smab, that's exactly what I'm thinking. That's sort of what this positioned map, position map is this lets me say where all, it says when I add this thing, I need to track that. We need to know where it is. And so the question I'm coming down to is, if I have two ogres, right, two ogre figures, are they actually different instance of an ogre figure? Or are they just like representing, hey, I want to draw this thing on the board there? You'd love the cat speaking the program? Yeah, Distron, I don't want to just pull everything though. That's what I did in my last game. It's not a real-time game. I could just pull everything. I don't think my figure knows I don't think my figure has the position stored in it. All the figure cares about is I can has size instead of I has size. Yeah, interface I has size. I can has size. Maybe we could have an I can has size interface. Smab, that's what I'm considering doing. That's one thought I've had. It's a thing plus a position, right? So we add in that thing plus a position to it, and then we can position it on the board. Oh, that's the other thing, Distron. Sometimes the figure doesn't have. Sometimes the figure is not on the board. Yeah, sometimes the figure is not on the board. It's somewhere else. Sometimes it's in like a unique area, like town. So town actually isn't a board space. So I need to be able to represent my figures also not being on a board. Yeah. So I also think you just don't. Position is just set it to not a position, right? Yeah, so it's like, how can I reduce there? I think, Smab, I think you're onto something there, and I was kind of thinking that. I think we have a positioned, right? So my question is, do we, if I take 2 ogre figures, if I have 2 ogre figures, they're actually the same ogre figure. I think having a positioned figure is what I want. Figure info. We have a no figure, and then we have a figure. Not all figures are on the board. So I kind of like this idea of a positioned. Record's just a class. Record's just an immutable class that gets some bonus stuff in it, Kilted. If you know what a class is, you know what a record is. All right, so we're gonna scrap this. We're gonna scrap what I have here. I don't think I need this. And let's come over to my repository. I don't think I want to go with GUIDs. That doesn't make sense to me. I want, given a figure, which position on the board does it occupy? This is sort of what I am thinking about doing here. I want to be able to, I don't want to duplicate it because then I have to manage that. Every time I do anything, I have to manage that, right? So I think I don't think I'm going to do that. I think that's a fine approach. It's just, it adds complexity. And I want to say, I want to reduce the amount of errors that I can write as a programmer through state modification. How do I reduce the amount of errors I have through state modification? So I think I want to do this. Okay. Given a figure, which positions on the board does it occupy? So we're going to check out this here. Let's go back to that other branch. We're going to commit these changes so we don't lose them. This is part of 28. Git add. Chore partial commit. Partial work for position map. And I think if I'm able to position things, we just add position data to it. Okay. Get status, get check out, get branch. Like this. I think this is sort of what we were working on at the end of my last stream. So yeah, you haven't missed it. The last time I streamed was on Wednesday. This is Monday. We've thought about it a little bit. Yeah, Sorcery Story, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here. Hope you're having a beautiful day, Sorcery. What have you been working on? How's your game coming along? Tell us all about it. So I like this idea of having a positioned like this. All right, so we're going to follow the functional. So I really think I think maybe it makes sense, but here, public sealed record. Let me make this sealed. There's no reason not to. Oh, it's a struct. All right, never mind. I can't do that anymore. Sealed record. Positioned of T as a T value element, and then a position. So I think this is really what I do. I want to take some value and I want to add a position to it. The board is not an array. It's a good question. The board is not an array. I do think that information is stored in the board, though. I do think the positioned information is stored in the board. Sorcery Story says, doing good, working on a bunch of UI to better introduce new players to the game. Game is fairly complex and better to be safe. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Smap, thank you so much for the link to your QList example. So for me, Dithron, I am a bad programmer. This is really what it comes down to in my mind. I think I'm a bad programmer. I make lots of mistakes in my code. How can I reduce the amount? How can I make it so that it's harder to write mistakes, right? I don't think I'm a good enough programmer to keep the state perfectly in balance. And you know, this comes from years of experience of thinking I was a good enough programmer to do that, and then discovering, hey, by the way, I'm not. I can't keep it all in my head. I personally am not a good enough programmer to do that, so I'm like, how can I simplify it? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So really all I want to do is add in a position to my... Yeah, Smab, this is good. I like this. I like this. We have a record, and we have a die that has a row and a column and then a location. And keep in mind, this is not... I don't know that this is like how most video game developers would do it either. I'm just gonna move this into this. This is another thing I often do. I'll start putting things in multiple. It doesn't. Why does it hurt to put this in its own file? It doesn't. I'm doing absolutely well, Sorcery Story. Awesome. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get to something. The piece doesn't care if the enemy's in range. The player cares, right? The board cares. Let me ask you a question. I'm playing a board game. Does this piece know where it is? Distron, does the piece know where it is? No, I know where it is based on looking at this board. I know where it is. I know the rules of the game. And the rules of the game say that two things can't overlap. I could physically make these things overlap like this, but the rules of the game say no. So the rules of the game, so I'm gonna have a thing called board. The board says if I as the player go to put this into this spot here, the board's saying, well, that's not valid. The board's gonna invalidate that for me. Yeah, so I am thinking about it from a, physical data approach. Does the figure care? Like I put the figure over here, the figure doesn't know anything about itself. Right, so I'd have a separate class for the enemy AI. Right? I'd have a separate class for the enemy AI. The game, this doesn't have a position. Right? So the question is, where is the position stored? If I put it on the figure now needs to know everything about the board to be able to do anything. Yeah. So if the figure knows where it is, when I go to update the figure's position, so I say, okay, set your X position here. Now the figure has to go and say, okay, well, let me ask the board here. Both are valid, depending on the situation. I think the board doing all of the heavy lifting makes sense, in my opinion. The board doing all the heavy lifting makes sense. In my opinion, Thindle, that's where I'm saying, like, in my opinion, that is true. Okay. So now the question is, so I have this positioned in my board. This is no longer the correct thing here. Instead, yeah, Kilted. It's like I'm personally trying this thing where I'm like, okay, so I think there's a version of me. 6 months ago, I would have just said, oh, I'm just going to put it into the object there, and then I'll deal with it. I'll manage it. But I'm trying to be a little, I'm trying a different approach. But you got it. Need job coder, but you got the internship? You got the internship offer? Awesome. Yeah, so Distron, the opposing player is going to look at the whole board, right? The opposing player, the AI is going to say, I'm going to look at the whole board, look at the whole situation and do a thing. I'm going to look at the whole situation on the board and choose what to do next. Not necessarily, but that's how I'm going to implement my AI. Right? I don't have any collision detectors or anything like that. I think I have an issue here where I'm not actually a dictionary position to tile info. I think the internal data representation here, I hope so too, Need Job Coder, is actually going to be a hash set of position. This is going to be our tiles. Okay. So I actually don't think I have this. Maybe I just make this thing a public. I don't think I have this either. So I'm changing my interface a little bit here. I think I might need to create a new, a second board class here. And like call this old board class, new board class. Because these are going to be different enough. This get tile info is going to stay the same, but the underlying data inside is going to swap it out. Yeah, so that's one of the coolest things about programming, right? Is there are different ways to accomplish the same result. As a programmer, you get like some, it's what I love about programming. There's this problem solving, right? That's the puzzle solving that I love. And there's different approaches. There's like almost an art to it. There's this freedom of creativity. There's a creativity to it. Yeah, Distron. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a lot of different ways to do the same thing. I think, all right, we're gonna do, this is gonna have to be a pretty big refactor here. So I think my board has a couple things now. It's gonna have a hash set of tiles. And I'm wondering whether or not I should make this public. You know, part of me says I shouldn't care that much about it. And then I want to have a hash set of positioned figures. I kind of want this. Making it public fill is the simplest thing to do from a serialization standpoint. And maybe I just go ahead and make it public and just say, hey, you shouldn't modify this thing. If you modify this thing, well, you're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble if you do that. You should interact with it through its interfaces. So the other option would be to make these things private and then have an interface that gives me like an IEnumerable, some sort of read-only version of it. So I could do this. This is the other option. I kind of like the idea of having it be public. Pain Hustle. It's Pain Hustle. Pain Hustles. We go to Pain Hustle ECS. Pain Hustle. Thank you for the follow today. Pain Hustle. Thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you here on this beautiful day. Source 10 coders trying to solve a problem. 11 solutions come out, and more like 100 solutions. Yeah. So there's a lot of things here that I need to consider. I could do this. I think there's an issue if I do it this way. So my interface could be this. The set thing here is going to be an issue. I'm thinking I should just do it this way. Give you the ability to touch it if you want to. Makes the serialization easy this way. I can make these private, so you can't redo it. But the problem with making it private is these have setters in them. These values you can actually set anyway. So I'm not sure how I feel about this completely. I think I'm gonna do it this way for now. Creating empty tiles, we're just gonna add these in like this. Has tile, so here's the thing, like I kind of don't need has tile anymore. If I have direct access to this. Get tile needs a little bit more. Get tile is more interesting, and so this is not going to be not implemented yet. So we now no longer have the tile info. We have to construct the tile info. Same with adding figure. Yeah. So there's additional challenges here. Removing figure. And equals. We may just need to put, these are all not implemented now. So this is going to be quite a refactor. We're going to just do this for now. What's going to happen though is this particular function had a high complexity score. So I actually think it's going to reduce our complexity score this time around. Which is going to be great. I think that'll be great. So all of our board tests are going to fail. All right, but this is my new sort of data model for my board here. I need to decide how to implement these things. I think I like this a lot. I think I like this a lot. We have our position figures. We could this could still actually be to a tile info. Well, and that's where the unit tests, I think, are going to save me a little bit. So maybe I actually do bring that tile info thing back in. Now I can get all of my figures out and say, okay, go get me all my figures. But then I also have the information about what the figure is there. We still have to look up where the figure is. Yeah. I think I like this. I think I like this. Thinking. So if I just use this data here, what I have here, get tile becomes the following. We're going to say if tiles.contains the position that we're specifying. If it doesn't, I'm going to say if it doesn't contain, then we're going to return a no tile. There's no tile here. Otherwise, we need to say, does this tile have a figure? So a dumb way to do this. Not quite. Figures. We'd have to do, so we could do something silly like this. For each positioned figure, position figure, figure, F in figures. We're going to say, does this figure occupy that space? So this would be the polling way to do it. So I'm going to write it this way for now, and then I think we might come back and optimize it. So go through all of our figures. And say if figure.position. We need a bounding box for this thing. So I'd say bounding box. What's cool is we could actually create bounding box here. This is going to be from our figure.position and then the figure.width, figure width, figure.element.width, figure.element. Oh, come on. Figure.element.position dot height. Sorry. So we get the bounding box. And then we can say if. Oh, we have to go through each of the figures, so I can't do it here. If our bounding box dot positions dot contains the position that we're checking. We're going to break out a loop, so we're going to have the position. So I need, and this feels complex, but we'll simplify it. Tile info, and really it's going to be a tile. Tile is equal to a new tile. Then we can update it here, say tile equals tile width, figure equals figure.element. And then we'll return tile. So if we get through this whole thing and we didn't find a figure, there's no tile there. There's no figure there. Otherwise, if we find one, we pull it out like that. We can this feels overly complex. This is where like the hash map that goes both directions would be nice, but we're able to pull it out this way. All right. So now when we add a figure to the board, we want to say if that figure will not fit on the board. Okay, so that's what this bounding box says. Give me the size of this figure. Give me the size of this figure. And we want to say if any of the positions, we want all of the positions to be part of the board. So we can say all positions are on our tile dot contains. All right, so if not all of the positions for this figure are on this board, we can throw this out of range exception. All right, so that's what this says. If not all of the positions are on the board, we can't put this thing here. There's an exception for that. Okay. Otherwise, we want to make sure that none of them are overlapping. All right. And this is where this thing is getting a little bit annoying because we can't get all of the occupied positions. I'm going to have to do this other loop here that says, what are all of the occupied positions? Say if there's a position that is occupied. So what I want to say, if bbox.positions, I'm using a tool called Zoom It to draw on the screen. Great question. It's a Windows tool, part of sysinternals. So now we're going to say if any of these positions is occupied. So we need a method called isOccupied here. Then we're going to throw this exception. All right, so cannot place figure at this position. The tile at position this. The position was already occupied. The position, we can't add in there. Not place forget position, already occupied because it overlaps with another figure. Okay, so I need to be able to determine if we is occupied, if a position is occupied. So we're going to add in a static bool is occupied position here. And so the position is occupied if any of these figures occupies it there. So we're going to do figures, oh, it can't be static. Figures dot select. I want to build up a hash set of it. So the select may not work here. I have to do like an aggregate. I could still do the select here. F goes to new bounding box dot F dot position, F dot element dot width, F dot element height. This gives me all of the positions, and then I need to add all of these in there. So this is a enumerable of hash sets, and so then our aggregate is going to be, I believe we have accumulator. What is aggregate taking? It should be, let's go look at aggregate real quick. An IEnumerable source, and then a function t source, t source, t source. So our t source, all right, so I think I need to turn this into, I want to do a flat map. Kind of need, I did it as a for loop. I would do hash set position positions. This is really, really inefficient, by the way. This one's super inefficient. Occupied. Yeah, so this one's really bad. Don't write code like this. We're gonna fix this. It's not gonna let me do a positions to hash set here. I gotta do a positions. Yeah, I'm making it work, but in like a horrifically bad way. All right. Yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. So we really only want to do this once. And we could make it so that we should just know this. Our board can have this information stored in it when we add a figure. So I actually think I'm going to do this. Private asset position occupied. And then we can maintain it here. So we have a position like this, position like this. Get rid of this is occupied here. when we add a figure to the board, if a position is occupied, then a figure's placement would be with X plus width and Y plus width. So simple where would work. Yeah, so it would have been fine. I didn't have... Oh, you're saying I could have done... Hang on, let's try. Let's try. Figures. Oh yeah, but I have like this nested... Essentially like a nested thing here. Figures.where, right? New bounding box dot f dot bf dot position. I still think this is bad. F dot element dot height, right? Dot positions dot contains position. So this is what it would be, Smab. So I'd say where this, and I'd say any. Okay, so I could do this. Any as you only need the first one. If I just do this. So I could do this. We are... is occupied. So now we have like bbox dot positions dot if any of the is occupied. Right, so we have this pretty gnarly code. I think it's pretty gnarly. Now I don't have to manage extra state, but we essentially have like a doubly nested for loop. I think it's maybe okay. All right. Yeah, can be improved later. Let's take this out. Let's get it working, and then we'll swap it out. If I can manage, if there's less state is usually good. Less state is usually good from a manageability standpoint. So it will. So Nordice, welcome back to the stream. We have, it still is a nested, like a double nested for loop. So in, when we're calling add figure, we want it to actually be passing, right? So what this is doing, let's say we have a board like this. We have figures on the board. So we have a figure occupying these spaces. We have a figure occupying these spaces. We have a figure occupying these spaces. And I say, okay, well, I want to add in a thing occupying these spaces. It checks all of these positions here, right? For each space. Yeah, for each space in here. So for this space, it checks it against all of these spaces. And then this space, it checks against all of these spaces. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So if I'm adding a 1x1 figure, it checks against every other occupied space. So even though any is optimized, I'm calling any against all of these things. I would do it with math rather than checking against spaces. Well, that's what I need to... You would do it with math rather than checking against each space. Then I'd still have to check it against every object, right? I'm probably going to just end up with a hash set of all the occupied spaces. I see what you're saying, though. We could make it better, right? We have the technology. All I have to do is create a bounding box check for overlapping. Yeah, we can do better. We can do better, I think, than that though. So I think if I just have a hash set of all the positions. Oh, so Distron. Smab is suggesting that we do collision detection. So I have a bounding box, right? Smab is suggesting rather than checking every single tile position for overlap, do a check to see if the boxes overlap rather than checking each of the indices, right? So it would be like doing box collision rather than pixel collision. Okay, so what we'll do here, yeah, so certainly better. Certainly better. All right. If these pass, that means we can add a figure. So we'll say that, yeah, we just add the figure now. So this becomes figures dot add new position figure of the position and the figure that we're adding. And I got it backwards. Okay. That actually, really actually, I think that simplifies this greatly. Okay. There's some issues with remove tile, so if we remove a tile that has a figure, we want to remove that figure. Let's see how we're doing on our tests. Because we're refactoring, we're gonna have a lot of failing tests. We have build errors, so we're not actually building right now. So we actually have compilation errors in our tests. Because should have position to tile map. So position to tile info. I actually don't know that we have this anymore. Maybe we do. It's gonna cause some issues if we've removed this thing. All right, so instead, let me add this back in. I hate this. Tiles was previously, all right, let's come into our board. I want to add this back in. And I'm gonna, before I do that, let's call this tile set. Just so it has a different name, so I can add this back in, and this is just gonna throw new not implemented exception. Yeah. I changed my interface. Cannot. Ooh, even worse, even worse. Hang on. That was a bad move. All right. Need this to be tile set. I need to manually, I just want to rechange it, rename it in this file. Why are you complaining? Don't save. Revert. I didn't make any changes to that. Okay, I build. Let's see which tests are failing, which tests are passing. Come on, this is not true. What are you talking about? This. All right, so this one is saying, this is crazy to me, that our should not be equals is passing somehow. Okay. Why when I click run all? There we go. Okay. So we have a lot of our tests are working. The ones that are not working are ones where we were relying on this tiles map. Pudota, welcome back to the stream. Your hard drive wasn't happy with the 800 tests. Is HDD is hard drive, right? Queuing 800 tests to read metadata of pictures. I mean, if it was an expensive operation, equals makes sense that it doesn't work. Task.winAll was not the correct move. I suppose that makes sense. Okay, so really what I want to do is under test, this should be tile set. And our type here, it's going to be our hash set of positions. So this test set becomes now, hey, this thing. What did it end up calling it? Tile set. So I think this is the correct change to this test. Remove tiles not implemented. Equals going to be broken because we haven't actually implemented equals yet. I actually think there's going to be a much simpler equals now. JSONable doesn't work, of course, because I actually think we've removed. There's still references to this in our web editor, but not in our test now, I believe. Board should, it still has a reference to it. Should remove tile at, okay, tile set dot count should be, let's update this here. That's interesting that our web editor, I would have sworn our web editor was doing that, but I guess we're not using that dictionary. All right, so able to eliminate that. Run our test again. All right, feeling okay. Let's get our equals a remove tile. Remove tile at position. All right. So removing a tile. There's a couple questions I have to remove tile. If we try to remove a tile and there's a figure in that tile, I think we're going to say that we can't, we have to remove the figure first. The alternative would be to say, well, when we remove the tile, go ahead and remove the figure as well. That's sort of the two options I can think of here. Yeah. So the simplest thing would be to say tiles dot remove new position X, Y. I actually think this will make our test pass. But there is this issue of if a figure was in that tile, we should not allow this, I think. So we're doing pretty well, Pedota. We are working on our board editor. I don't know if I can actually see it right now because we're in a refactoring process. Yeah, I can't access it. We're refactoring, and we're redesigning our data, how our data is implemented here. And we can now say tiles.count or set equalities. Tiles set equals other dot tile set. And I think this is much easier than what we had before. Before we were checking all key value pairs. We don't have any key value pairs anymore. And then this would now be figure dot set equals other dot figures. And this would be a return. All right, so we might have just finished this refactor. Not JSONable. When we deserialize, they're different. That's a little surprising, but perhaps hash sets can't be serialized properly. Just a little bit interesting. Let's take a look at what our result is here. Let's do a debug. We're close. We're very close. So we have this format document. Okay, this looks good. All right, so it's saying these are all the positions on our board. And our figures are element and position. These seem to be serializing fine as well. So, oh, we got was successful true. Hang on. Should be... Oh, it says it was successful, but our board 0. All right, so our board 0 should be the same thing as deserialized. And it's not. Okay, so our figures and our tile sets did not deserialize properly. That is kind of interesting to me. A little bit interesting to me. Can we not serialize hash sets? Let's go look at, yeah. C# text.json. Is it text dot, what is it? What library? Text.json.serialization hash set. Hash set. Hash set should be serializable. Okay, so it writes it, but it doesn't read it. And this could very well just be my to JSON. We no longer need this converter, which is nice. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That still shouldn't make a difference here. Oh, it must be this private set. I bet it's a private set. Yeah. So because I had the private set there, it could not reload that value. Disco! How you doing, friend? Welcome back to the stream. Great to see ya. Hope you're having a beautiful day. All right, so we have this in here. So we can now clean this up. Let's do a... Git add .NET format. Let's do a format on it. I did the add first in case the format really botches something. I can reset it back. And the .NET format actually didn't change. Oh, it changed a few things. So I had a few white space thing. Okay, these look good. .NET test. Yeah, Disco, I'm glad to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday. Let's check out our coverage real quick, just to make sure we're not missing anything super critical. Look, I'm not going for 100% code coverage. I just want to make sure I'm not completely overlooking something here. What line are we actually missing here? Saying that this line of code, that's interesting. What am I looking at here? This is board has tile. This is just a. Oh, I can do better here. Yeah. Because we always break. Okay, so there's a situation where we do a get. We never do get tile. That's what's going on here. We never do a get tile in which we exit this loop and have no info, apparently. That feels like a reasonable test to have. Fact. Board should have these extra shoulds out of here. Oh, why do I have all these? Look, my brain couldn't handle it. Board should not have figure on empty. Easy here. It's essentially this same test. But we're not testing if we've modified it there. What we're testing is actual dot, under test dot get tile at new position x y. So we can do this. Int x, int y, theory, inline data. We'll just give it some values. 1, 2, 5, 7. Well, so coverage tells me I'm not testing I realized I wasn't testing a particular case, right? So coverage tells me, hey, by the way, in your tests, we never hit this line of code, right? And so that tells me, oh, we never actually test get tile when there isn't a figure there. We never actually called get tile in our tests when there was not a figure. So when we create a new board, it's telling me that, hey, when we create a new board, right? When I create a new board, it's true, it is a red line, new bounding box, new position 0, 0. Let's do 10 by 10. Okay. When we get the tile here at position X and Y, actual, when I say actual dot should be a new no tile like this. So it's helping me understand that I missed a thing. Oh, and in fact, oh, it's never mind. It's actually a tile that contains no figure. It's just the default tile. It contains no figure, no prop. Okay. And I'm not advocating at all for 100% code coverage, by the way. Oh, this is interesting. I'm surprised. surprised that didn't work. Am I adding a figure? Zulk, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Welcome in. Zulk Iflyer shit. New username, question mark? Tuber Tugger, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here. See, I'm not actually worried about this. No worries, Tuber Tugger. You're never late. You're never late. No one's making you be here. But I appreciate it anyway. I don't understand this. Call you Zul. 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 There is... I'll call you Zul. Gotcha. And Tani, welcome back. Have you heard of Uno as a UI development platform for C#? I haven't heard it as a development platform, but I've used it to make some WASM stuff, some WebAssembly stuff. I've used a long time ago, like a .NET 6 version of it, to compile a console project to WASM and get it to run in the web browser. So I have used, I think I've used Uno WASM. I've done this. I've used this here. I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to, but I've used Uno WASM Bootstrap in the past. Shy Programmer, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're having a beautiful day. How you doing, Shy Programmer? Hope you're having a beautiful Saturday. I don't understand this. So what? Oh, I think I understand actually. Okay, so I'm not. I want to understand what this means. Zul, you may have been. Have you changed your username? I do not remember your username. But congratulations on your new job. That's awesome. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're learning a lot. Ooh, Tuber, cool. Cool, yeah, I hadn't heard of that. I know that people have, when I was looking into it, saying, oh, well, because WASM requires a specific entry point, the way .NET compiles it, it needs a specific entry point, and so I couldn't do what I wanted to do. It like required me to have like a Blazor thing all set up, and really I just wanted a piece of WASM that I could like call into from the web browser. The first true class platform, gotcha. I think what might be happening is that Figures is empty here. I'm just, so this is more than anything, this is me, a curiosity for me. Under test dot add figure. New position, or so it'd be 0, 0, new figure. Like I'm more than anything, I'm just curious why that line is not getting hit. Like, what does that mean? I actually don't care about that coverage. It's just not what I would expect. There it is. Okay, so I wanted to understand why that line of code, why it was saying that line of code wasn't executed. And so it was because this list was empty, so it just skipped over, so it never actually came out of that point there. Shy Programmer, thank you for the hats. Let's get a hat on this. Check my pile of hats. We had a hat overflow earlier, so this is just sitting on my floor. The giant chunk of hats, our hat chunk. Let's get a hat on this head, though. Thank you so much for the hat, Redeem. You know what? I think I want a different hat. I want a different hat. I want to look real cool. I want to look real cool. Oh, yeah. Look how cool we are. There we go. How do we do? Shy Programmer, how do we do? What do you think? What do you think? I should... Oh, hang on. We got some... Let's fix this. We gotta make this right. We gotta make this right here. All right, there's a spot here that I'd like to occupy. So we're gonna occupy this spot. Okay. So open source software I enjoy using for music called SpotTube. I haven't heard of it, but it uses Dart and Flutter. I'm jealous of how seamless that just works on for all platforms. Ooh. All right, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for the hat, Redeem. All right. What do we think? How do we do? How do we do? There we go. Thank you for the hat, Redeem. All right, let's hop back in. Let's hop back in. Yeah, I was just curious what was going on with that. And now we actually hit... That's interesting. All right, so I just wanted to understand that. Beautiful. Codemuck, that's right. I see it. Tawny, how have you been, though? Tawny, I saw you started Mechanically Challenged. Folks, for people who don't know about Mechanically Challenged, we're going to do a little push here. We're going to do... I think we have this in a pretty good spot. We can actually start doing some. Given a figure which position on the board does it occupy, we have that. We can now ask the question of our figures. Say, hey, hit our figures. We know what positions they are, so we have that information now. The Triclops, yeah. All right, so let's do our mutation test as well. Smap, thank you for the lurk. And Shy Program, no worries. Always appreciate being here. It's cool and all currently learning Google Cloud because Google in Malaysia is running a self-study program for a month. Once I'm done with the program, I will receive a Google Cloud t-shirt and hoodie. Nice. Nice. All right, see how our mutation tests do. We have one surviving. I have at least one surviving here. So mutation tests help us identify when we've written bad tests. Why? Statement mutation. What did they mutate it to? This is interesting. That is interesting. I don't care about that. So mutation tests actually take your code and change the code. They actually don't give you random inputs. So what is happening here is it said, hey, by the way, if I delete this line of code, your tests all still pass. Right? It's saying, hey, this break seems to be a thing that if we just remove this break, your tests continue to pass. We can look at the ones it killed. So for example, let's look at some of the ones it killed. It said, if I modify this line of code to be a not, if I modify this line of code to be a not instead of a normal, do your tests still pass? No, it says your tests begin to fail when we do that. Up here, we get rid of this not. Your tests will fail. If we delete this line of code, your tests start to fail. So it goes in and it mutates your code and then runs your test and say, do your tests still pass? And if they do, it says, well, there's a smell here. It says this break is doing nothing versus your test. So it sort of tells you whether it gives you a little bit of confidence that your tests are doing something interesting. Yeah, it's called Striker. Hang on. Striker, C#. This are the mutant tests I'm adding. All right. So this mutation test says like, okay, well, what would I want to do to make that work? Well, I would need to test against a... Honestly, I don't need this break, but it's there for efficiency. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So what's interesting here is I kind of want to say, well, don't delete that. Yeah. I still want to break here. I still want to break here. I don't know what type of... This mutant survived. It modified my break here. It said take the break out and your code still works. It's like, yeah, that's actually true. But my code's just more efficient without it. Let's rewrite this using a link. All right, so I'm gonna say figures.where. We can use it using a link, and then we eliminate the break here. F new bounding box of f.positions, f.element.width, f.element.height, .positions, .contains a new position x, y. We say if any. This won't work, so we need the actual tile. Yeah, so I can't quite do the link there. We can do a where. I still want the where. And I can do a first or default here. Yeah, so we'll say our figure info is this. And we'll go with first or default. And the default will be a figure info dot none. Figure info. Can I not do a first dot none figures? Does not contain a definition for first or default. But tell me I can't do a first or default. Can't I specify the default? I guess I can't. It's first or default like this. Well, it's trying to return a figure. What is the return type of this? Well, it's a positioned figure. Like this. Okay. And we're going to do our figure is equal to F or figure info dot none. We can't do that. Yeah. Sorry. Figure dot none? I'll get a none here. What is the default? Figure info dot none? Why won't you let me do that? Can it be applied? Dot. It's annoying. Alright, so we'll do figure info equals F. I hate that. Is that not gonna work? Alright, so here's what I want. I want to say F is null. F dot element. I don't like that. Tuber, thank you for the hat. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Exceldro and Popcorn, great to see you both. You can place the wear with the first or default. Yeah. Sorry, I was maybe too focused there. I'm not sure. They should be able to eliminate this. Okay. Honestly, I'm wondering if okay. It's okay. It's not the worst. I don't like ternaries. It's based on a board game? Yeah, so we're gonna play a very rough prototype of it. Gonna do a rough prototype. Pudota, let's give that a shot. I like that idea. We're building like a Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Tactics style game. It's based off of a board game, so it's a turn-based strategy, tactical dungeon crawler, 2D grid-based. You can play a like prototype version of it in our Game Jam entry there. So what I really want here is a figure info, right? Info. So at the end of the day, can I get this thing to be this? Right, so Pedota is suggesting that we do a select so if we do a where, we can do a select. And then we do a first or default. I really wish first or default would let us, and then this would be a no figure. No. It's pulling out a figure here. It's like fascinating. So because I have a figure, then a figure info. Yeah, so they're slightly different. All right, so let's go look at what figure info is. Yeah, so figure info has two subclasses, no figure and figure. And so it's, you know, this is like me trying to do functional pattern matching, working through some of these things here, and discovering things like generic types don't work. So generic types, it's interesting, generic types work a little bit differently than I want them to work. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I did this, right? So now I can do this thing. Is I'm like, hey, if you happen to be nothing, we can do it that way. So it's like, I'm learning some things. I'm exploring some things. I'm gaining some confidence in what I want to, in how I do things. One thing that I think I can actually simplify quite a bit. Not simplify quite a bit. Tuber, it I don't know if that will that'll work for us. Well, let's do a test here. Luckily, I have a test, so I know I get some confidence that I didn't bring anything. .NET, Bash mutations. So I eliminated my break though. So the question is, what level, like, does it, you know, I think it's going to reduce my complexity score. We'll find out. All right. Do we have, did the mutant survive? It doesn't look like it. It came up much earlier before. Ooh, yeah, so our board, we had 2 timeouts though, which is interesting. Our board, we have 2 timeouts on our board. Something to do with bounding box now. Oh, this is just because they have a dumb test here. The test is like, oh, by the way, if we decrease this. All right. So that one I'm okay with. Tim! How are your turtles? Welcome to the stream. If you guys don't know Tim Bodette, the incredible, the unstoppable, the amazing Tim Bodette, incredible indie game developer, full-time indie game developer. Go check out that stream, folks. You see this heart here? You see this heart here? Give it a click. Oh, that was a bad circle. Let's try again. No, it's not a circle. That's a square. Circle takes the square. Tim, I hope you're doing well. If you got a raid and run, no worries. I know how it be. But folks, click this heart. Give him some love. We love you, Tim. Squares usually are bad circles. It's a true story. That's a very, very true story. Too slow, Tuber Tugger. Too slow. Thank you for saving my day, Tim. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Let's, all right, so we eliminated that error. Oh, we just did, so mechanically challenged stream, we were just talking about implementing the mechanic in a variety of links. Okay, so I feel pretty good about this. Let's get this added in. .NET format, make sure nothing, I'm curious what the formatter might do with this. I do need to raid and run a bit today, but we'll leave you a lurk. Thank you so much for hanging out, Tim. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I think you're incredible. Truly an inspiration to me. All right, git commit feet board should contain figure positions. Yeah, inspired by proxy. Inspired by proxy. Inspired by Moxie, perhaps. All right, let's do a pull request in. Let's go into our web here. Let's relaunch this. I don't know if I actually need to relaunch this. Okay. And then while this is building, we're gonna take a look at what is mechanically challenged. I'm gonna take a quick break, get myself some tea. Surprisingly, I can still add. It's really cool. I'm kind of amazed that I can still add this stuff to the game or to the board. I do definitely. Okay, so my figure still exists there even though my tile doesn't exist. So that makes more sense to me. So I can add this stuff here, I can add figures in. All my tests still pass, like my interface is still working. Now I can actually move my figures to their own layer, which is what I want to do next. Okay. What are you using to render the board? Blazor? Question mark? Let's go look at it. I wrote a board renderer. Yeah, a Blazor, but I don't know if that was the actual question. No. Let me show you. All right, so we have a board renderer. Oh, that's how I do it. And then if we go into our board renderer, we have a tile renderer. We have a tile renderer. And then our tile renderer is just a just a div. A div that knows a position. And then the figures are going to be spans. They might be images. A ton of spans and a div. Tuber, trying to keep up with my constant progress. You're doing awesome, my friend. Tuber Tugger, I hope you're proud of yourself. Distron, thank you so much for hanging out. Keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. We'll see you next time. I'll be back on Monday, folks. I'm not going anywhere, but Distron, maybe we'll see you on Monday. Sleep well, my friend. Get some rest. But yeah, it's just a div. And then it's styled using positioning here. So rather than using a table, and now I'm going to be able to add in a figure render. So it felt really weird to me that the tile had this. This needed to be in the figure. And so the whole point of this refactor was so that we could do this more easily. So we can manage this complexity. I'm feeling pretty good about this here. Oh, I forgot to create this pull request. All right, so while this pull request is running, I want you guys to watch the mechanically challenged video. If you guys want to get in, it's almost May 1st. You have until May 1st to submit for the mechanically challenged. But uh-oh, hang on. Sorry about that. Sorry if your ears blew up. I don't know why my music isn't attached properly. There we go. So if you guys should take a look at Mechanically Challenged.
What is Mechanically Challenged?
Let this guy tell you all about it.
Event hosted by Mooniz and myself, the Captain Coder, in which you are challenged to implement a game mechanic and share it with the greater community. In this particular month, April 2024, we are implementing dropping through platforms. So the goal of this is to implement in whatever engine, in whatever language that you want to implement it in, a platform in which a character stands on top of it and they don't fall through unless they press a particular button, down and jump, maybe just down to fall through. Once they're beneath this platform, they should be able to jump back up through the platform and land on top. This GIF here, this little video, shows Dead Cell's implementation of it. It may be a little trickier than you might think it was, but the goal is to have everyone in the community attempt to implement this, create a repository full of your solutions. So we'll have a solution for Unreal. We'll have a solution for Godot. We'll have a solution for Unity. We'll have a solution for any language you decide to do. And we'll put those into a repository together and have this as a resource for anyone who's new or wanting to implement this for their game. So how do you participate? You're going to start by creating a fork of this repository. Inside of that fork, you're going to create a folder with your engine, language, and username. You're going to implement your solution and then submit it via a pull request to this repository. Mooniz and I will look over your solution, see how we feel about it. We may ask you to make some minor modifications to your repository to reduce the size and structure of it in the group project. And then finally, 2 people will win the Educationally Mechanic Prize. The Mechanic Prize here, Mooniz and I will both select our favorite solutions so that you can have an option to win $50 for sharing your solution with the community. Mooniz and I have sole discretion on selecting the winner. We can't select ourselves and we can't select family members. I will say that much. What we are looking for are clean implementations that show other people how they might take this and add it into their projects. So clean modular solutions are likely to be the winners. Where can you join and find more information? We both stream on Twitch. So twitch.tv/thecaptaincoder and twitch.tv/Mooniz. You can also join us on Discord and join the discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to send them our way. We're looking forward to seeing your solution. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. You're welcome back.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I said we were gonna watch that while I went and took my little break here. I needed to get myself a little tea, but I was too slow. All right, well, that's mechanically challenged. Highly would love to see you guys participate in it. No pressure though. And no pressure to win. That's the other thing I want to say. It's no pressure to win. Just make something cool, learn something, share it with the community. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we are looking for. All right, let's get this merged in. Oh, nothing to apologize for, Sorcery Story. Have a beautiful day. We'll check you out next time. Have a beautiful day. All right, let's get this merged in. All right, so we got that merged in. Let's go into our main here. Get checkout main, get pull. We can go ahead and delete this branch here. And in fact, I don't think I need any of these. I wouldn't accept it if I won anyway. I just love the idea of helping in building. Well, I hope if you win, that you will consider accepting it, because it's a token of our gratitude for you guys helping us to create an awesome community. Okay. So we got that in there. I don't think we need this. Okay, so now we can close this. Not necessary with positioned of T. All right, so we don't need this mapping. My dog wants in here. Hang on. Hey, girl. You coming in? Want to say hi to the stream? Want to say hi to chat? You waking mom up? She's so excited. Hey, girl. She don't want to be in here, though, do you? Hi. She does not want to be in here. She just wants to be. You're crazy. The crazy dog. I'm streaming. I might have to go. I might have to hop up here to take care of the dogs. They're used to me giving them a walk in the morning. I've been giving them walks early in the morning. Yeah, hi, Dusty. Hi. I'm talking to the stream. You guys want to meet? Look, here's the doggos. Hi, baby. Dusty doesn't like when I stream. She wants me to go play with her. She's going crazy. Look at them. Look at those beautiful doggos. Need a doggo cam, apparently. Dusty, I'm sorry. I'm screaming. You guys are gonna get sad. Yeah, and so like I want to shut the door so I don't wake up. Clearly, my girlfriend was woken up, and so she let the dogs out of the bedroom. All right, there we go. And now they were scratching at my door. They're just like, we want to be with you. Yeah, the puppers, those puppers, sweet doggos. Okay, yeah, the tech community here on Twitch is actually super awesome. I wouldn't say actually is. I don't know why I said the word actually there. I'm just gonna say they are amazing. Is she the mom? And yeah, she let the dogs out. Okay. Change tool shouldn't cost. All right, so the next thing I want to do is we're going to work on this one here. Right now, when we add a figure, it ends up having to redraw the entire board. Let me switch back to here. So this is the next thing I want to do. All right. Apparently I already made a branch for this one. So I need to go clone that. All right, we're going to start that branch over, I think. Moon is definitely a moon person. Yeah, so let's... What is going on with this one? We might have to kill this branch, but maybe not. Main got merged in just fine. Yeah, so I had started this figure renderer. Did I modify my board a bunch? No, I didn't. So I have my latest version of board. My board renderer goes through these positions, but now I have this idea of a figure renderer. So I was having trouble writing my figure renderer. You're also a board renderer, is that true? Because you're bored, so you're rendering? Oh boy, Thindle. Thindle, you're hilarious. My tile renderer here should no longer render my figure. let's get this launched down here, .NET Watch. And I'm going to move this to, once it gets loaded here, I'm going to move it to another screen. Easier for me to work on a separate screen. What actually, let me pull it out here like that. No, it's still, it's annoying. We're going to move this over here. You can see it in the top right corner there. To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead. Did I forget to start my, no, YouTube stream is going. For testing, in my board editor, I'm just going to go ahead and start off by creating a board and then adding a, yeah, so when we initialize board.create empty tiles, we're going to do a new bounding box, new position, 2, 2, and then make it 10 by 10. Positions. So when we initialize that, we'll get a square on there. And I'm going to add a couple different figures to the board. New, we'll add it at 3, 3, new figure. Like that. Let's add a figure at 5, 2. We'll make it a width. Width equals 2, height equals 1. Congratulations on your number 27, Nameless Coder. Welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here. Let's go to a 2, 5, 1, 2. And then let's do one more of a 7, 7. We'll set it to a 3 by 2. How about that? 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9, yeah. Something like that. We'll refresh this. We probably won't see anything here. Yeah, if I put my tile renderer back in like this, I think we'd see it. Yeah, so we see the positions on there. But my tile renderer shouldn't care about it. It's actually my figure renderer that's going to render these for us. They go on top. Tuber says, I've got a small game project I'm finishing up this weekend based on the Ludum Dare jam. I couldn't find the time for 2 weeks ago, so instead I took 2 weeks to make something with the same theme. Look forward to showing off next community showcase. Oh yeah, Tuber, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, there's never a... Don't let yourself be limited. Jams are great, but don't let yourself be limited to learning only during a jam. I love that idea of saying, well, I'm just going to create a 2 week for myself. Say like, imagine I had this. And I love that. I love that. So I'm going to say for each positioned figure in board.figures, we're going to do a figure renderer, and our figure is going to be figure here. Okay. That's interesting. Expects a position. All right, so our figure renderer is going to have a positioned figure like this. And we can use this to pull out that information. It should be figure.element.width, figure.element.height. We no longer have a position. Instead, the position is on our figure.position. Our figure.position. We actually don't care about the tile anymore. We know we have a figure. So we only actually have one of these if there's an actual figure there. It's no longer a figure info. It's a position figure. Okay. And Tuber Tugger, yeah, that was a fun project. The Jern Jam too. Jern Jam. Jern Jam 2? There it is. Poorly assembled deck. Yeah, some assembly required. Just called it a poorly drawn card game. That was a fun project for sure. All right, so I think our Z index might need to be to have a layer for it. We may need to do something with Z indexing, or is Z index something I'm allowed to do? Is it, or is it considered bad practice to do Z indexing? I'm not a web dev. Someone tell me. I'm wondering if I have. Z index is fine. Thank you, Thindle. So I want these to appear on top. The question is, do I have any figure? I have an add figure. So this isn't adding my board renderer. Oh, I have to give it my board. What's interesting is I don't think I actually need board anymore either. Let's comment these out. Seen a lot of tutorials with it. Okay. Been out of web dev for a long enough time. Okay, let's look here. Have an error. Web editor figure render declares more than one parameter matching the name figure. Board container. All right, so I have some figures in here. They have no color, it appears to them. All right, so if we look here, Razor file is a templating file for them. So Razor is a templating file. All right, so my width and height. So I have these, but their width and height. Invalid property. So figure width and cell size. One of these things is not right. Width, var, cell size. Height, var, cell size. Surprised that did nothing. So figure width is not set somewhere, it looks like. Yeah, Blazor uses Razor. Razor is a templating language. So you'll notice I have HTML here, but then I have some like C# for each stuff as well. I'm surprised these values are not being propagated through. Seems to be having trouble with these. Let's do a thing. Just to sanity check. Background color. Okay, background color. There we go. So now we're seeing those. The width figure width is an issue. Cell size is not an issue. Figure width is not coming through. I hope that made sense, Nameless Coder. That's a great question. For some reason, this variable is not being said. Am I missing a semicolon there? Why don't those values come through on my element? Oryx, welcome back. Yeah, notice my style okay, what isn't it like about that? Filter rules containing this property. Oryx, thank you for the hat. Let's get another hat added to this stack. There we go. Nameless, thank you for the hat redeem. Look at another hat added to the stack. We're 4 hats here. Thank you so much for the hats. I appreciate it. Figure height. Test bar. Why doesn't it like figure width? Can I not call it figure width? If I do F width, that is weird. Thumbert, how you doing, friend? Great to see you. Frameworks never. It's a lot of question marks, right? Why? Oh, it's up here. Okay, maybe it was working. Maybe I was confused. Yeah, it has them here. This is bizarre. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, I got it. All right, this should be calc times, these are 2 different variables. There we go. Calc okay, there we go. Okay, let's do a refresh here. Still not drawing them properly. The width and height on these is interesting. That let's take a look at them. The height should be 2. Oh, that's because I'm dumb. Here we go. There we go. Did I not make any that had a width? Oh, it's because I did this. All right. In my quest to figure out what's going on, I made some particularly bad choices. There we go. We got figures of a variety of sizes. And now our board renderer, we can do this. There's a little bit of a nonsense in this as well. Okay, there we go. Now we have those. If we had grid lines, that's right. But now our figures appear above, right? So these are our figures. I kind of want to add in some padding here for these guys. So our width should be this, -2, maybe minus 4. It's gonna be a +2. This will be a +2, like that. And now we'll get some padding. Oh, that broke everything. +2, +2. Bad idea. That's weird. That's weird. What is that? I wanted my so this is in pixels. Our width. Oh, I need to do like -2 pixels. Is that what I need to do? Yeah. -2 pixels. +4. +2 pixels. +2 pixels. There we go. This would be -4. So this way the all right. So what I did here. Interesting. Why is this? Does it actually need to be +3? It's not going to look weird the other direction. It looks weird the other direction. Hang on. There we go. All right, so what I was doing, we can kind of zoom in and see it, is I was making it so that this appears like it's above the board. Okay, so that's what we have. All right. Thank you for bearing with me on that one, everybody. I appreciate that greatly there. Okay, so now we can have different figures added to the board in different positions. We want, all right, so I'm pretty happy with that. The whole board doesn't have to redraw now. Previously, the whole board had to redraw. Because, see, now I can't actually click on that tile. It'd have to be like really, it blocks it there. So I can erase tiles, can add tiles. I need to be able to remove figures from the board. That's the next thing I need to be able to do. But we no longer have to redraw the whole board. I'm curious, save file. Board 9 got saved. Let's erase some stuff. This should be fine. These other ones will probably fail now because they're an old file format. All right, yeah, we can save and load our board. I can add a figure to our board here. Beautiful. There's a few things I need to make sure I cannot remove tiles that contain a figure. I'm gonna make sure I cannot remove tiles that contain a figure. I need to make sure that I have the ability to remove figures from the board. Tuber, thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind. All right. I wonder what happens if I try to hold this old format. It's just gonna crash, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, that file can't do anything with it. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. Sweet. All right, so let's get this added. Make sure nothing gets add. See what our format does. Mars, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll be back on Monday if you want to come by. Always love having you here. All right, git commit-m feature, add figure renderer and layer 2 board edit, board renderer. All right, so some pretty good progress there. So now our figures and our board are sort of independent of, our figures. Yeah. So our tiles, they contain information about them, but we actually just examine and say, hey, in this position, what do we have there? And I'm actually thinking that we want to return the positioned figure so that we know the top left corner of it, but that's for another that's a problem for another day. It's a problem for, or another PR. So we got that. Let's come over here to our pull requests. Let's get this added. Okay. Oh, I should have waited for all those tests to go through, actually. That was a mistake on my part. Hopefully that all passes. I might have to do a revert. Hopefully this all continues to pass. I got a little bit ahead of myself there. To make sure I shouldn't have forced that merge through. I should have waited for my build tools to tell me it was safe to do so. Donnie, happy Saturday. Great to see you. And folks, we're going to be raiding out here in about probably 15, 20 minutes. So if you have any suggestions on who to raid, let me know. I'm thinking we'll raid Practical NPC if he's still going. He's doing a community showcase himself. So we'll probably end up raiding Practical NPC, but feel free to make suggestions if there's someone you'd like to raid into. Okay, so our build passed. Good. I want to go look at, we're going to figure out what our next issues are going to be. Not allow removing tile with figure. Board should not allow. We need to not allow removing tile with props and figures. This, I think, is going to be the next one. As well, and while we're at it, we need to be able to remove and move figures from the board. Board should move figure, remove figure. So we want this idea of like, oh, take a figure, we want to move it somewhere else. It allows us to move that figure easily. Just change the position of the figure. We also want to be able to do a remove figure as well. So I'm pretty sure this is the next thing we want to do. And while we're at this, we're probably going to solve not allow removing with a tile with a figure while we're at it. So this is going to be the next thing that we're going to be looking at doing here. And I think this one should be pretty easy. I think we can speed run this one here. That was incorrect. Git branch. We're going to go and delete 24. I don't need 28 anymore. We've decided we're not going to implement that. That was a, we almost went down a path of danger. A path of sadness. All right. So at the very least, we can write some tests here. What happened to my, did something weird there. Menu bar, there we go. So in my tests, board, okay. And one of the nice things I like about what we've done here with the board update is we can actually specify tiles and figures now. We can actually go through and we construct this thing. I don't have to call the create methods anymore. I can just specify what they should be at the offset. Part of me feels like I should get like an ASCII definition for this as well. But we can say, okay, our board should move figure. So we're going to go through, we're going to add in a position figure to our board. I really like this. This setup here is much better than what we had previously. The managing that dictionary was kind of painful. So we're going to do a board. And we can actually set these things now. We don't have to call stuff. We can say, okay, well, I just want it to be this specific thing. Tile set, it's going to be equal to, and I can just specify the tiles I want here. New bounding box. New position 0, 0. I really want bounding box to have a second constructor. Make it a little bit easier for me here. Public bounding box int top. Let's go with left int top. Int width and height. And this is going to construct from our base. He's in a new position, left top width height. Find myself really wanting this constructor. This build, that's crazy. If that builds, that's wild. That can't build. Have to declare body. Okay. Oh, okay. It was just taking a second to catch up. This should be a this. Well, okay, that makes sense. I'm thinking we're gonna raid Practical NPC, but I'm open to suggestions. If anyone has suggestions, let me know. Practical was playing the game Cosmic Encounter, playing our game. So I feel like it would be nice to go raid Practical for doing that. But I know he's been on since 3 a.m., an hour before I started, so I don't know if he's still going. All right, 0, 0, 10, 10. Dot positions. Oh, that game's cool. Alpine Lake is awesome. Yeah, we'll probably raid in. Let's give a shout out to Booyah. Grandma. When we can, hang on. I gotta get the username Twitch. Booyah Grandma. There we go. I had the spelling right, but I had to double check it. I know it's spelled a little bit different. Yeah. Booyah Grandma has an awesome game. If you're interested in a cozy game, watching another Unity game developer, Booyah Grandma's cool. Cool stuff going on there. All right, so then we want to say our figures. And then we can add a figure to the board. So we're going to add a new position figure here. Saw1423, thank you so much for the follow. Saw1234, thank you for following me today. 22. New figure. Hope you're having a beautiful day. It's not gonna take a structure. Oh, because we have to do figure and then new position 2 like that. It's too good of a song. Saw. Thank you. Thank you for following me. I got you, friend. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. Yeah, so we have this figure here. And we have our start position, our end position. And so we're able to move this. So should move figure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start position to int start x int start y int end x int end y like this. And we'll do this as a theory. And then we can test it twice. Okay. So we start x 2, 2, go to 4, 4, should move 1 by 1 figure. So 2, 2 goes to 4, 4. And all this is going to do is at the end of the day, we should have board dot figures dot count dot should be 1. We have to actually call it board dot move figure. We're going to move the figure at position 2, 2. And I'm wondering, Really, it's the figure at position 2, too. Start X, start Y, new position, end X, end Y. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Okay. Bool results. Result dot should be true. We should be able to make this move. After we move it, we should be able to ask the question. So we should still have one figure. We should be able to ask the question board dot get tile of start X, start Y dot figure get tile. Gives me a tile info back. Yeah, so this should be dot should be a tile info dot really should be a tile info dot empty. Tile info new tile info where figure is figure info dot none. Prop equals prop info dot none. I think that's really should be a new tile. There we go. Tuber Tiger put together a VTuber instrument again. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. What type of VTuber, like, you know, avatar do you think you would use? Just curious. Out of curiosity. All right, so this is what this should do. Get tile. We should be none there, and then our end tile should be our original figure. So we had our figure here. Yeah. So now that's what we should get here. Okay. And so now we have a definition for move figure. Or we have a test here that lets me say, okay, when I do this, we can go ahead and generate this method. It just says, I guess I need to stream now. My break's over. What do I code? It's the $1 million question, I suppose. You can code what you want to. You can leave your world behind. All right. You can code anything you want. The world is your cloister. All right, so now that I have this here, I can implement this. I'm gonna change this here to be start. So possibilities away over 70 open issues. See, there's many of options. Making a dating app that instead of setting up one-on-one dates, it sets up large party events, 5 to 20 adults in the area that you'll need it. Tuber, there's an app for making friends that just my area is. I don't have enough people in my area. It's not a dating app. It's like a friend making it. It's called We3. So it pairs you with 2 other people. So it generates groups of 3 people for you to meet and hang out. I really love the idea, but the population that uses is just too small. Too small. So I was a little sad by that. Okay, so start position. The easiest thing to do here would be we go look up. We need to find the figure at that position and then move them. Okay. So what's interesting is we're moving from a specific cell. I like this. So we can like move from a specific cell. For 1 by 1, this is like easy. because we can just go find the position. So we're going to do figures dot first, where f goes to f dot position is equal to start, like this. All right. To move. And then we'll say that our figures dot remove to move. Oh, this should be positioned figure. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove it. And then we're gonna do figures dot add. What does add take? Takes in a position, so this is going to be our end, and then this would be to move dot figure dot element dot I could do this to move with. So there's some problems with this. There's some problems with this. Instead, I'm going to call add figure on end.x, end.y, and to move dot figure. Elements. An idea workshop for a bit. Oh, so I missed a little bit. I'm making something similar and I have a track doing speed dating events. Tuber track. Oh, you're actually making that's a really cool idea. It's a really cool idea. So what I actually want to do first, I want to say if we can't add the figure, we're going to return false. Oh, add figure just throws and accepts. I need a triad. All right, so we're going to do an add figure. Yeah. But this is essentially what our code should do in the happy case. And I want to think about, okay, well, what do we want it to do in the not so happy case? So there's cases where we try and move. There's a figure blocking our way. There are many things that could go wrong. All right, should move. So we need to have another test here that says should not move a 1x1 figure. And we need to make sure that there's something in the position that we're trying to move to. Okay. Should not move 1x1 figure when end is occupied. So this is our other. And so when we try to move our figure from the start to the end, we should get a false here. So J, we don't actually make a modification. We should still have 2. We should, at our start x, this should be our figure. At our end x, this should be our other. I think this will fail. We're going to get an exception, right? Should be false, but was true. Okay. So one of them we get an exception. Cannot place figure at position 4 because it overlaps with another figure. And then the other case, which is interesting, we get a true but was false. So let's look at this code here. We go to move a figure. We want to say if is occupied. Yeah, we want this is occupied is useful. we can say if we is occupied at this end position, don't do anything. It's fascinating. Let's go see where we're actually failing. Eternal Divine Fox, welcome back to the stream. I'm doing well. We are working on our tactics combat game. You can go play the prototype of it that we did for a game jam over on Cosmic Encounter there. The Git repository is open, but we are currently working on our board editor. Let me see if I can get this to show you the board editor real quick. Red Panda Express. Red Panda Express. I want to thank you for following me. Today we got Red Panda Express. Thank you for the follow today. So we're making a board editor for our game so that we can create maps. We can add different things to the map. So this might be, you know, something we would put together. These green tiles represent figures on the board. And so we're building a game that's like a 2D grid-based game like this. And we're currently in the process of getting our data types together and building out our tools here to be able to do this. So we have these add figures here. And what I'm adding in right now is the ability to remove figures from the board and to move figures on the board. So we're writing the move figure right now. Working on a stack-based math expression virtual machine with a bytecode compiler. Very cool. Very cool. That reminds me of the task. What was it? FP conference? I'm going to find it. The task. Man, I have it bookmarked somewhere. Super cool. Let me see if I can find it real quick. How do I view my bookmarks? Bookmarks. Edit bookmarks. How do I view all my bookmarks? Programming. Bound variable. Here we go. Reminds me of this. So this is a really cool little programming puzzle that I did many years ago for the ICFP programming contest. You have to build like this bytecode interpreter. It's like a stack-based calculator and then there's like little programs you have to run in it. What do they call it? The Universal Machine. A Lua bytecode VM. Oh, Eternal Divine Fox. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Keep me informed what's going on with that, because I want to know more. I want to know more. So it's interesting to me that this is returning true. In this case, where we're saying start at 1, 2, end at 3, 2. Fascinating by this. Let's do a debug here. I was hoping to finish. I got to go in 5 minutes. 5 minutes on the clock. Then we got to get out of here. Be great to get this one thing going here before I hop off. Step into. The end position should be occupied. That's the part that's so weird to me. Is occupied returning false? So I have this position coming in. Let's look at our figures. There's two things in figures. And our positions 3, 3, and 1, 2. Oh, I must have a typo here. And Y. There it is. The typo in my test. All right. Cool. What is that? Just like the default blob file, like Blender produces the OBJ, 3D OBJ files. Cool. So we have this. We're on a good start to get our move to work. We have some more tests we need to write to finish us off, but I'm going to stop here. We'll be back on Monday. Let's if Practical NPC is still going, we're going to give Practical NPC a raid. I'm assuming he's still going. Twitch, Practical NPC. Played our game earlier today. Just an incredible streamer. Oh yeah, he's playing Alpine Lake still. So we're gonna go say hi to Practical NPC folks. When you get over there, be sure to give him some love. We're gonna yell at him, "Happy Saturday! Tell us about this game." All right, let's go ahead and copy and paste this raid message. If you would, I'd love it. I'd love it if you did. I'd love you if you help us, give him some love, tell him we're excited, tell him, why can't I copy it? Why is it so hard to copy and paste Twitch messages? Does anyone else have trouble copy and pasting Twitch messages, or just me? Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. I'll be back on Monday. Remember to keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. You're welcome back anytime. Have a beautiful day. Yeah, Practical NPC does that with cameras. He has lots and lots of cameras. All right, let me try one more time. Raid. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Hats to copy and paste, yeah. But thank you so much for being here as well, folks. Let's go give him some love. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you guys again on Monday. Take care. Bye.